but my lawyer was dope. He got me off. He said he went up there.
So
I love that he was dope.
I knew you were gonna say that.
My lawyer's dope. Literally dope. He just walks in a block.
Got a dope lawyer. Dude.
He's just got a bang. But yeah, he went up there. He said, "Look, man, I got a cancer survivor with one ball that tells jokes for a living." And then they're like,
Fuck, I
That's
forgot about
great.
that. Yeah.
Did you at least sign an album for him or something? You know what I mean? Like,
"Oh no," he said.
do you have
This
to
is
prove
what
it?
my lawyer said, right? He goes, "You owe me a thick white girl with tattoos and an expensive bottle of liquor." I said, "On the way."
Yeah.
Renee.
Yeah, but so that was the first time I was like, oh, like, because I was thinking to myself, I'm not a bad driver. I'm a fucking great driver. I've always been a great driver. Old people are bad drivers, and I was like, fuck, I'm old. That's how it happens. They weren't always bad drivers, man. They just become bad drivers. You know? That's how. That was the first time I felt old.
Well, for me, it's being too comfortable.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
especially like I got my new car, right? It doesn't have my radio.
Yeah.
Like I need a radio with a screen on it, but
Right.
now I got GPS on my phone, so I'm just like, yeah, let me do this real. Fuck, I'm driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like shit. Leaving my apartment, like backed out, started going. It's like, all right, let me put the address in. I was like, my bad. I'm all in there, like,
Yeah, it's so true. Like you get so you're right. It is a comfort
it's
thing.
very so I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this. The kids nowadays, they trained to do those things.
When was the first time you said the phrase "the kids nowadays"?
Oh God, I just turned 52. So
Okay, so like
last year.
Yeah.
See, I got called Unc for the first time.
Oh no.
That hurt.
Yes.
Sorry,
It hurt, but-
sorry I did that.
But the funny thing is, it hurt, but at the same time, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm that.
Yo.
That's me now.
See, dialectic
That's
behavior,
good.
you would say OG instead of Unc to make
See,
it sound
OG
better.
makes me feel like, so when people call me
Yeah.
OG in the game, I'm like, y'all just saying it because I've been doing this for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
same.
it's like, oh man, you a vet. I'm like, damn, am I about to, do I need to go to VA?
Yeah.
Yo,
I got to be homeless now.
I know.
how long have you guys known each other?
Wow, man. at
That's
least-
you know how it's the first time I remember like really like meeting meeting you like and really hanging out at all was when you buried me at that fucking James Hodge thing with that gig at in the restaurant that Caitlin did.
Oh, yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
not the first time we met. We met
When you
know?
say he buried you, what do you mean?
This month, maybe I was like, I ain't mean it.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. There's a small list of comics that have embarrassed me in a comedy.
So
I
like
did not know
done
that.
so well ahead of
yeah,
you?
no. I ate it.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
oh, yeah.
You might have went first. I don't remember where you
I
went.
I was ahead of you, and I remember going up,
And you just crushed it
and
and
then you were
connected
like,
with everybody.
man, now I got to do my real shit.
Yeah.
I just came to work on the shit, but then Caitlin didn't set you up.
You set me up. Anytime
No,
a room
she
has been,
set you
anytime
up.
a room has been focused and laughing, they're set up. They get how this works. Yeah. So, and
But she made it sound like an open mic.
Yeah. I thought it was an open mic, and I sort of went there, totally unprepared, and it's like, it's the same thing I used to do to when I was a younger comp. Like, they come in, and then you realize the next night they turn it back up because they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
They're used to not having
show.
great comics in front of them, and then
was
you
used to-
nail it, and they. Oh, I was on the road today, traveled. They're not prepared for locking in.
Yo,
And
how
then
much
it
fun
hurts
is that, Mike?
What's that?
Because you do it better than most people that I know. Just bury the guy coming up after you. Yo, I swear to God, I watched Mike the last time we worked together. I watched Mike. I was like, why is he mad at me? Why is he mad at me?
You know what I said to David Goolsby last night? I said, don't do that shit again.
That's funny.
Because he fucking all of them crushed last
Yeah.
night. But no, I had so much respect for Tom because we never really met. But I mean, I've watched him. So
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And he said that. I was like this. Fuck, did I do wrong? Did I think about, you know? But
yeah.
in my mind, that was all the shit I had.
Yes.
You know, that was like
Yeah.
all my. Oh, we got.
You're gonna
show
fight.
these people.
Yeah.
You're gonna fight harder because you only have one weapon. You know what I mean? You're just fucking fighting out of that corner. Yeah.
It's like the baby snakes. Like,
I've had people do great perform it, whatever, and do that on a stage before, but
Yeah.
not somebody that when I'm watching, I'm also like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
It's easier to dismiss when the person isn't good at comedy, but they're killing. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right,
you're not
right.
that. Like it's like you have skills that I don't have
Yeah.
in comedy, which is which you have those too. This ability to connect with the people in front of you. That
It's a desperation from my end.
whatever it is, it's yeah.
I used to.
How long ago was that?
That was
10, 12 years ago, maybe.
yeah. I would say about 10, 12. Because then we were meeting up in Chapel Hill with the Funny Business guys a lot, with Eric Yoder and
Oh yeah. And that was at a time where you were just talking about ran into sort of not burnout, but like you sort of hit this wall, right?
yeah.
And I feel like that there was like that sort of 8-year window where I was just like I was more focused on being a dad and being being home, and then the joke is like you got your show, not that it's like I stuck to the show, but I
You
ran
had
into
enough
a
to get
rut.
by.
Yeah.
So you had a not a crutch, but I mean it is. I guess it's not.
There's just
You
not a
have work to fall back on.
Yeah, and there's always I always like that. You always feel this pressure to be like, why am I not there? I don't really have that anymore,
Yeah.
So
When did you get rid of that?
I was about to say, when does that go away?
yeah, no doubt.
Do you still feel pressure? Like,
Yes and no. Like I'm to the point now to where I'm happy where I'm at, but I'm
Yeah.
also not happy.
yeah, same.
Like I think the
What you
reason
mean?
why I'm stuck in this spot is because I'm not getting out there more. As far as like my skill level, I feel like I need to be around. Now I'm the top dog in the area,
Right.
like in that little group,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, fuck, like all my comics that I'm like, yeah, I can't wait.
You got to go.
see.
You got to go sharpen against people that are strong. You got to
Yeah,
be the
exactly.
not strong guy.
Yeah, so
Strongest
it's
guy,
like,
yeah.
like Aaron Ransom. I love this dude. Like he's one of the few people I'm like, fuck, I gotta go up after this
He's
motherfucker.
wild, bro.
Wild as fuck. And then he disappears, and I'm like, damn it, I need you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's like,
yeah.
no, where are you going, Thomas?
So do you when you
Dixon?
see that? Yeah, Thomas Dixon breaks my heart. When you see that's the funniest dude. That's the funniest dude I ever met. I think
Who, Aaron?
Thomas Dixon.
Thomas? Oh man, you know what's crazy about Thomas, man? So I saw him, and I was just like, this motherfucker's good.
Yeah.
And then he brought back.
What do you
something
think?
in
What
me.
jumps out about you that when you're like that guy's good?
Just his mind, the way his mind works.
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you, man. It's just like
Everything about him is.
Yeah.
He's just brilliant in so many different things. He can't focus on one.
when you see somebody who's, I don't know, just different. You know what I mean? You see it. You
Yeah, I
notice it.
just do. I was just curious how
Yeah.
you would define. I can't
How
define
do
it
you
either.
define? Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
Like so you you just go, okay, that fucking guy, that guy. Look, that Dusty, that guy's doing it different, and not different. It's something.
It's just
just
something
makes
that
me.
It's a
catches you,
desperation, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
there's-
telling you, it's a desperation. It's you see somebody standing up there and they have to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
And as soon as I see that, I'm like, you got it. You got to do this now. You know what I mean? Maddie Weiner, when she was 16 years old, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was
all
like,
those,
you do
all
this
those high
now
school
forever.
kids that came through that group.
Oh wow.
I was
Yeah.
like, man, I'll punch every one of you on the face. Only because
How
I
old are
was
they now?
Oh, they're all in their mid 20s now.
mid to late, mid to late
smashing.
20s, killing it. But
Yeah.
I was mad because I didn't start that early. I was like,
What would have
fuck
happened if you did though? Like go back to
when did you
16-year-old
start?
Mello.
I started when I was 30.
Really? What were you doing?
No, you know what's so funny, man? I went to an open mic because this girl's like, you should do it. And I was like, let's go check out an open mic. Had a blast, but the one dude that went up there, and it's sold out at Good Night, bombed. And you could see the tears in his eyes welling up. And I'm like, I gave him a courtesy laugh. I was like, I swear to God, 2 chairs over, a dude was like, fuck you doing? I was like, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I don't know the etiquette. That kept me another 2 years, probably.
Oh yeah, watching what happened to him.
I was like, I don't want that. I felt it. I
Yeah.
was feeling what he was feeling. I was like, I don't want no parts of that. And then I went to jail, and I was like, fuck that. It can't be any worse than this.
Right.
Even I wasn't in jail for like ever. But I'm like, this sucks. My brother was like, what are you going to do with your life? And I was like, I'm going to do. He said, I don't want to hear it.
Really?
And
He asked you the question, then didn't want the answer.
He pushed a napkin over and said, write it down on this napkin. We were at McDonald's. He bailed me out. I wrote on the napkin. He folded it up on his pocket. We finished eating. 3 years later, he shows up at a show. He's like, do you remember this? Gave me the napkin. I'm like, motherfucker, you can't do this before a show, Like,
have a
he's
good
like
set,
my
though?
second dad.
Did you have a good set that night?
Yeah, I did.
What did the napkin? What did it say on the
I
napkin?
want to be a comedian.
Okay.
He's like, you're
Yo,
doing it.
how do you?
That'd be hilarious if you showed you. It was like, I wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah, right?
That's a great story.
Yeah, man. And because my brother Robert's
Wow.
like a second dad. He's a junior, So, like, he was like, what the fuck you going to do with your life, man? Get your shit together. I was like, this is what I
Well, where
wanna
was he
do.
before? I mean, come on, whatever he
Well,
did before.
Where was he before?
I'm just
He was shit.
Where's-
He was trying with me. You know, I was my 20s is living it up.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can't tell a young Mike nothing. I'm guessing.
No, plus like I'm the youngest of 8, and the closest one to me is 5 years.
okay.
So it's like I was being the only child in a house full.
So, do you remember the feeling of like sitting there with him and having this like? Did you have a moment of like, now I'm ready to listen, or what's the difference?
I was just.
He just paid his bill, dude.
Yeah,
You know what I
he
mean? You
paid
got to
my
listen to
bill.
the guy
You
who
gotta
bills you.
listen to the dude.
The guy who bills you out, you got 8 hours. You have to listen to that guy.
Okay, that's a rule.
It's a million
At
percent
least
rule, dude.
8 at
yeah,
least.
at least 8 hours, dude. Anything he says, you're like, yeah.
That's why I'm becoming a bail bondsman, just so people will talk to me.
Well, he was just always career driven. Like
Right.
he started off being a photography editor for the News and Observer, and then now he's the photography editor for Washington Post. So he's
No
always
shit.
had that.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and he's always like structure. You got to have structure. You know, so
You know those people that got like real fucking jobs like that? I'm always curious, like, when did they decide that, like, and even you guys too, like you hearing you say that you wrote down you wanted to be a comedian.
That's
I'm
the
like,
coolest fucking story,
It's a
man.
great story.
well, the funny thing, I always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like
So
even
this-
as a
but
kid.
This is what I've been wrestling
You
with.
knew comedy was sorry to interrupt, but you knew comedy was available as an option to do as a kid.
I just knew I wanted to do it because the first person I heard was Richard Pryor.
And
Like,
you knew you could do it.
well,
Like in
here-
the back of your head.
Yes and no. So, so I remember waking up. I think I told you this story. Went to the kitchen, like get some water late night. My parents are losing their shit, so I like huddled down in the kitchen, you know, on the other side of the bar, and I was listening to it, and it sounded like music to me. I could hear the rhythm,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and it was like I didn't know what he was talking about. Oh, pussy this, pussy that, you know. But then I just heard the rhythm and heard my parents laughing. So then I used that to hide all the shit that was going on at home at school.
Okay.
So it was more of a shielding technique.
Sounds like what was going on at home was your parents were doing a good job listening to Richard Pryor raising their kid. You know,
That's
you
an
know-
actual quote. Pussy
Yeah.
this, pussy that.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
That's my favorite album, Richard Pryor.
I remember.
Seems more like what Cosby would have had as an album.
Yeah.
but, you know.
Yeah, right.
God damn
It was,
I,
it was putting that.
Yeah, that's wild. So you hear
Putting this
you heard-
against my
I hear it, and then you know I would go to school, and it was funny because I was writing, but not knowing I was writing. I'm like, oh, this is gonna hit tomorrow.
Oh, I did that kind of shit.
You know, so it's
Or you
like,
say something that makes people laugh, and then you're like, that situation happened again, and you remembered what you said that made them laugh, and then you say it again. Like, oh, it's.
You're gathering these utilities
Oh,
to use at
yeah.
another point.
I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
that
yeah.
too. Yeah, yeah.
because I remember Jazzy
Never
Jeff
thought
and
about
Fresh
that.
Prince, right?
Yeah.
Jazzy Jeff used to cut like chip, 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 make it sound like a bird, right? So we'll be in a class and it's real quiet and you hear a bird and I just be like, or if a car horn went off, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
excuse me, and everyone's like, yo, that's hilarious. You know, I was like, I'm killing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Miss Johnson hates me, but the class loves me.
Yes. I used to tell my son that if you do well in a class, like if you get good grades in a class, the teacher will let you be as funny as you want. They'll let you say the smart ass thing. They'll let you do those kind of comments, and they'll kind of let you get away and encourage you a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
But if you're getting bad grades and you're doing that, you're going to the office and you're the
Oh,
shitty
yeah.
kid.
I
that can
definitely
shit.
had both.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had both. I had to fuck up first and then get my grades better.
Yeah.
It was like that through my whole. I just like fucking around. I was a daydreamer. I played sport. You know, I just didn't want to do everything but this shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's funny. So basically, I just used it as covering up, you know, my mom's alcoholism at home and just the bad shit at home. I would just come home and be like, oh, he's so funny. Meanwhile, I'm just like, I don't want to go home. I'd rather be here and just make
Right.
people laugh. But it took me all the way up to going to jail to get the balls to be like, all right, fuck it. Because everyone in my family, what they wanted to do as a kid, they're doing now for the most part.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's almost like I just fell in line.
So how did that happen in a home where you never wanted to go to? How did everybody get the same direction to achieve their dreams?
I don't know. I just think they were like, I wanted to do this, and they did it. Like my
What-
sister,
But that has to sort of be nurtured by you. Either your guys are doing that for each other, like your brother doing it for you, or
There's some accountability.
like that the fact that whatever. How many kids were there?
8.
So 8 out of 8. I mean,
My brother
it'd
was
be weird because looking from the outside, you'd be like, whatever your mom was doing, she was doing a great job. And you're like, that woman was horrible. She was drunk all the time and hitting me with
she was
bottles.
a great woman. She just drank, But I don't know. I guess I don't know if my dad had anything to do or my mom, but it just seemed like. So my sister used to carry around. Remember those tape decks with the big speaker?
Oh yeah, I used to carry them.
She carried that shit around. And she, I want to be a DJ. Now she's got on a radio show. My sister modeled and acted. She did that. My other sister loved clothes, and now she's general manager for like clothing place. My brother's a con artist. He's still doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
My
like,
sister loved doing cocaine. Now she runs a rehab center.
see, there you, I mean, that's a turnaround.
I can't wait for the day that I
a
find out
180.
that Mike's making up all these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be odd. Like, damn, he really made him
So
sound.
he's
like-
doing real
Wow,
good.
he has been writing since he was 4.
I know. Yeah, my brother wanted to jump off the
Is your
roof.
oldest?
Still doing that
Who's-
thing in class where it's
Who's
like, oh,
your
we're doing good.
oldest
My
sibling?
brother Tony, he's 60.
And what's he do? He's the one that.
Well, now he's borderline genius.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
But-
probably right. It's like
Yeah.
he's got to be a driven dude, right?
Yeah, but I mean, now
Just
he's
trickles
just
down.
like he just wants to ride his Harley, take care of his son. He's got a 10-year-old.
Okay.
So I'm like, you need to get your balls chopped. But he just wanted to play in a band, so he played in bands.
Hell
He
yeah.
still plays in a band, bass player. Now his son plays every instrument, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm still struggling on the drums. This kid's like, oh, do this. I'm like, don't tell me what to do. I'm your older. So yeah,
He
he
said,
was just
"Shut
so
up, Unc."
smart. He scored the highest test score in the country on the ASVAB test
I don't even know what that is.
to get into any military shit.
Oh.
Scored the highest test score. We had all these news crews at our house. The only thing I could think of, I swear to God, to get another bowl of chili. I'm whooping their ass. My dad made banging chili. I'm like, they're going for seconds. Dad.
That's funny.
It's a news crew. I don't give a damn who they are. They
Why
eat
are we
chili.
feeding them?
Yeah. So he ended up on a fucking nuclear sub, which he said was the worst. And
Yeah.
I was actually going to the military because my dad's like, you need to get your shit together. So my senior year is the first year the Gulf War started. And my dad immediately said, once them recruits started showing up to my house, he said, military ain't a place for a black man. I was like, motherfucker, you were in 2 different branches.
So he
I mean,
knows.
yeah, right. I guess that's how he knows.
Why would he? What does he mean? The military is not a place for a black man. Why?
Just how they were treated. Like when my brother went in ranking, and they still treat him like shit. Like, and then my dad should have got
Is
promoted.
that is it just everybody, or is it race specific? You think?
I think there's some race specific. I mean, you still got Klan members in military, just
we
like
need
you
to
got
weed
gang
those,
members.
We need to
in
weed
the-
those motherfuckers out.
Yeah, but I mean,
We
how?
need them to kill people.
How when I mean they're backed though,
Huh?
They're backed by somebody because they ain't gonna shit. Who you gonna kick out? If someone willing to go shoot overseas? You don't like black people. We can't have you shoot other. Well, just shoot them for now,
Right.
and then come back. But my dad was in.
Just shoot them for now.
Yeah.
Get some training. We're gonna need you later when
Yeah,
shit
we're
goes
gonna need you
sideways in the
later.
United States.
These Black Lives Matter marches,
Yeah.
you got to have. But yeah, my dad was in the Air Force and the Army. So when he was in the Army, he was in the Korean War all the way up till it started the Vietnam War. And so he should have been a higher rank, but because he
Okay.
was black.
Yeah. I
Simple.
mean, it's weird. Like in my mind, I can clearly go like, oh, obviously that happened to your dad, but to your brother, it feels like it's weird how I feel like my era was better. And they really weren't.
Yeah.
You were saying your brother's got a son now. His son is college age. Your dad. I see videos of you and your dad driving around,
Yeah.
listening to music and shit like that. I don't know. How's things with you and your dad right now? Like,
I mean, my dad's awesome, man. The funny thing about dementia is if you're an angry person, you usually become nice. If you're nice, you become angry.
Really?
I always imagine I'm going to be like a
Sometimes.
racist old dude.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm going to be a racist old dude because I know it's a funny bit.
Yeah. Well, my dad was like, he never talked about race.
Right.
And you got to think about, he's 88. He just
Yeah.
turned 88.
Yeah.
You got to think the shit he saw.
Mm-hmm.
1936 he was born. This motherfucker
Wow.
saw the world
Yep.
change 18 times. It's like, he's cranking up his car with his hand. you know, to get a Model T to a
Yeah.
fucking Tesla.
And now you got
know?
big old screens and the, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
Wow.
he never really talked about because we had white people in our family.
Okay.
So it was never that. And when we lived in outside of DC, we were all broke. It wasn't like oh
Right.
black people broke. No, it was
Right.
everybody
Everybody's broke.
there was broke. So
Yeah.
I never got it until I moved to North Carolina.
Okay.
And then I'm like, why is everyone sitting at different tables?
Mm.
It was clear, you know. And I'm like 10,
Oh, okay.
and I noticed it. Like, what the fuck? Why are these people sitting at different?
What do you mean? I somehow I've never seen that really.
How all the white kids sat together, all the black kids sat together. But where I was from, everyone
Oh,
sat
yeah,
with
but like in high school and stuff like
No,
that.
shit, I'm talking about earlier than that.
Oh,
I'm talking about elementary school. So when I moved to North Carolina, it was 79.
Yeah, you always had at school, when I was growing up, you had white kids, black kids, smelly kids.
smelly kids.
Let me not
Broke
get
'em up.
canceled.
Yeah. I could
Smelly
sit at
kids.
all three tables.
So he's cool with us. He's cool with us too. What up, cuz? But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things. Like I just noticed, and then, of course, as I got older, you hear shit. You know, my mom worked for the legislature for like 30 years, so I remember I walked through the Klan, and didn't know, like, because I went to
Didn't
Catholic-
know.
didn't know. Sarah and fatigues. I was like,
You know
the
what? I
army.
really, I really appreciate them keeping their comments down. You know what I'm saying? You think
Well-
that you would hear it a little bit
well,
as you
I
walked
was-
around them.
So
But you're a young kid.
I was a young
You
kid,
might not
so-
even know what shit means.
I got my Catholic school uniform on, and I had to walk to my mom's job, which is, you know, I went to school downtown. She was like 4 blocks away.
So you were 10 years old in what year in North Carolina? What-
79, I think he
79,
said.
okay. All right. Yeah, yeah.
So the Klan's just out in the day, and you got to walk through 'em?
Well, they're about to march,
Really?
and they were just all in fatigue.
I don't know why this is all so shocking to me.
You know, like North Carolina.
I don't know.
I don't know why that's shocking.
I
to you.
don't know
Well,
why.
it's because you love North Carolina, and you've
I don't
also
love
experienced
North
I love North
I love
Carolina.
North
I mean, I love
Yeah.
it now, but I mean, I love it as much as I love everywhere, which is, it's fine.
Yeah, well,
You
it's
don't
crazy.
like this place more than other places?
Actually, I mean,
You
it's,
live here.
I do live here. That's what I like about it is that I'm here.
Are you from here?
I mean, no.
Are you from here too?
No, my wife is born and raised here, so this is where we ended up. Like
Mm-hmm.
after I don't really have like a home place.
He's a gypsy.
Just a little bit of a.
All right.
gypsy,
Anyways,
yeah,
yada
yeah.
yada yada racism. Go.
Yes.
So yeah, I leave school and I walk, and I was like, oh, must be Army Reserves. I'm just walking through them because they're all in fatigues. So I get to my mom's, wait for my dad to come scoop us up.
I don't know if you know what Klan's outfits is usually not
Oh no, they're
Fatigues.
fatigued up.
really.
So that night we go home and my mom's watching the news. I was like, those are the guys I walked past. She said, what? I said, yeah. They were getting ready, I guess, to march behind the building. And I walked through them going to your job. She goes, boy, that's the Klan. And I was like, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, they're probably like, he's probably got a bomb, don't say shit. You know, why would this kid walk in between it? But I just see Army fatigue.
Right.
So it was probably like, I don't know what section of it was, but they're
Do you
all
remember
in
your
fatigue.
mother's reaction? Like, other than.
She was like, what? I mean, she was just like, what the fuck?
She had to have a feeling in her stomach.
I'm sure.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Owen. It's funny you said Owen. They had a thing for the baseball team he's on where some parents came and they'd had a kid that had killed himself, so they wanted to talk about suicide to the team and not to do it and that kind of stuff. And Owen is funny because he cares, but he's also like, this is like the fifth one of these I've had in my life. Like,
It's
Owen,
not for him.
It's this, this. And I'm like, well, it does maybe give you some signals of what to look for in people, or so maybe you can reach out to somebody, or if you're ever really starting to go. He's like, nah, they don't ever give us any of those hints. They just say, hey, if you ever think about that, then get counseling. He's like, and he's like, I thought of a kind of a bit about it. In the
That's
note-
my boy.
Yeah, that's right. He's like, I almost said something about like, because if I left a note, the note would be, hey, mom and dad, please don't do speeches like this of our team. And then as he said that, I was like kind of chuckled, and then I was like, it does it right now. It gives me
Yeah.
like the most horrid feeling in my
pit.
stomach about that. You know what I mean? It's like I can't even imagine having to go through that.
Yeah.
But, ugh, like I
Yeah.
can feel it. You know?
I mean, it's that visual is fucking wild. Little black boy just walking through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
But then so
And I had the big ass.
yeah, I love it.
know?
I wish
So
I
they're
had.
I just
like-
have this image of
I
you
wish
just
I had
being
a-
they're like the balls on this kid. Like they imagine you know who they
I
are.
swear to
Yeah.
God, I hate to trivialize your experience, but I mean that's an album cover. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a fucking album cover.
It looks like it seems to like I'm picturing like a boondock scene. You know what I mean? Where you're
Oh,
walking
yeah.
through.
That's crazy
like-
because just today, I saw a photo, old photo, is like the first black man to attend a Klan meeting. And they were all
Yeah.
in white, cross burning. He's just up there in regular clothes.
yeah.
He probably was like, what the hell's going on here? Barbecuing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like-
He probably wasn't the first to attend.
God damn it,
The
Tom.
first one that got pictures. you know?
Yes.
But
the,
to-
He actually didn't walk in when they're like,
yeah,
poof.
the first one smiling.
So you brought up Owen and kind of getting a little bit of joy out of him working a bit, and then you talk about your dad and your mom listening to Richard Pryor stuff. So I can imagine that your dad was a comedy fan,
He was, man.
and so was he like when he's? I remember I think it was the first time I ever saw my dad proud of me. He came and watched me do a weekend at comics at Mohegan Sun, and I was a professional all weekend, and he saw it. And I think. Maybe not the first time he was proud of me, but it was definitely the first time he was jealous. And I was
Right.
like, ooh, because I know he wished he could. I know he wanted to do that. He was such a big fan, and it sounds like your dad was a fan of comedy back then.
Oh, yeah,
So,
he had all the albums.
what was his thinking when you, like, all right, he sees you do it, sure, but then like, you're at the MGM with fucking Russell
Well, see,
Peters.
that's
You
what
understand?
sucks now is because of the dementia. He doesn't
Oh,
really.
okay.
But I remember the first time they came to a show, some assholes said something.
They being your
My
parents?
parents.
Hell yeah.
And they sat him right in the front row, dead center. And I'm like, why the fuck?
Why would you do that? Unless you wanted that.
No.
Okay.
I'm like, because I looked out and I was like, why would you sit him right there? I was with, I think I was with Miss Pat.
Okay.
No, not Miss Pat. Another big black
Some
woman.
more.
No. Older. There's Miss Pat and there's another. She was so awesome. She's
Del
like,
Givens?
No, older. I was
Theo
thinking- Yes, Vidal.
Theo Vidal.
Okay.
Yes, that's my girl there, man.
Yes.
That's like instant auntie. As soon as you
Yes.
meet her, grab my bags, baby. Yes, man.
Yes.
You know?
Pat's a little like that. Can you
Yeah,
unsnap my
Pat's like
bra?
that.
Like,
Yeah.
what? Like what? Like,
Thea's like, me and my buddy went to Thea's.
it's a frontal bra.
Me and my buddy went to Thea's hotel after her, smoked a little bit. And she said, hand me that knife over there. My buddy was like, she grabbed that shit and said, back up. We're like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, that's a big ass bat to get a knife. And fucking. But yeah, so my parents in the front.
Yeah.
My mom's laughing. My mom's like, that's my baby. He. My dad was like this the whole time. And I'm just thinking to myself, he hates it.
Yeah.
And then after the show, you know, saying thank you, all that, my dad comes up to me, he goes, you know what you should have said was. I was like, He was like, I can write for him, you know.
Yeah.
That's
That made me
great.
feel awesome.
That's cool.
Because, you know, the only thing me and my dad really had was sports.
Okay.
You know, like he was always at my basketball games. Tennis, not so much, but basketball, he was there. So that was like another thing we kind of connected on. I just wish I think the only regret is I wish I started earlier so he could have enjoyed
Okay.
it longer.
Yeah.
Right.
And my parents could have.
When did he start? When did he start having dementia?
See, he's 88 now. I would say like probably started like 70s, early 70s.
Right.
But I mean, it's really light. You know, I could tell like he'd get mean all of a sudden. I'm like, damn, I know I'm an asshole, but I'm trying to go through my Rolodex, see what the hell I did, because I know I did something. But then like at the beginning, he was really ornery, and but now he's just like, oh, I appreciate everything that you do. Oh, thanks. And
How
you
did
know,
he get to
super
there?
Sweet.
Did he slowly sort of get, in a way, sort of used to?
I guess
the
just
way his
getting
mind
used
is
to the
go-
routine of things, because he don't, you know, it's tough when you have to tell him you can't drive anymore.
Right.
Like that's your last freedom.
Yeah.
My brother did him dirty.
And he loved it.
Oh,
Right?
dude, that's all he did was drive around. He drove us everywhere. He'd go out, he'd go to his grocery store every day just to drive, just to go. And my brother did him dirty though. We were taking my mom to the hospital. And my dad would go to my brother would go, and then he's like, "You're driving." I was like, "Okay." He said, "Why can't I drive?" And I'm like, "You didn't discuss this before I got here, you know." But now he's just really appreciative. Every time we go out for a ride, he'll be like, "Oh man, I wish I could drive." I was like, "Man, you could sit back. You could just let me chauffeur you around. You did that for us, you know." I take him out. I don't have any money. He's like, "You don't need money, pops. I got you." And I'm just saying, I mean, don't get everything. But you know. But no, he's super sweet now, and I think our relationship is, you know, a hell of a lot better. But I just hate it has to be through this,
Right.
because he doesn't.
But would you have had it if it wasn't through this? Would you
think
bet?
so?
Okay.
Just for being older and me not fucking up as much. See, once he found that kilo of cocaine in the house, I think that's the best thing for the dementia. Is the best thing for me for that.
Right. That's hilarious. He'll never forgive me. Well, we'll see.
Eat your asbestos.
I will never forget this time where you've disappointed me, and now he
Yeah.
doesn't
You know,
even
I
know
wonder-
it.
Yeah, now he does.
Does he-
White clean.
Do you though, because obviously if he listened to comedy albums, right, and he was a fan of comedy, then like you said, when he was like, you could have said blah blah blah, he understands
it.
joke structure in a way most people don't, just from being a fan of comedy.
Yeah, and that's what I
So-
thought was so cool.
So how many years did you get him around as you were a comic, where he would come and be like, you could bounce ideas off of him, or he'd give you a tag, or be
It was
like,
Tell him about a
very
show
quick.
you did.
It's very quick.
Oh, really?
Because that's when my mom was sick as well. It's the reason why I came out from LA. My mom was sick, so with her being sick, they couldn't get out as
Right.
much and come to shows. I'd come home and bring them videos, but then I'm like, I don't even like this video.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. So it was very brief time. I did show him something not too long ago, and he was like, "It's pretty good. It's pretty good." But he still watches like Steve Harvey. Like he'll watch Family Feud. He's like, he's hilarious. I was like, well, at least you're still watching something from me.
Right.
You talked about you wish you would have started earlier. I always, you know, we got friends who started when they were fucking babies, man. They were
Caleb Elliott,
you know
14.
what I mean? Yeah, it's wild.
Like, you son of a bitch.
I'm always like excited for them, and like, you know, Jordan Fisher, Ben Jones, all those guys, Matty Weiner, all of them. But then I wonder about if I'd have done it at that age, I'd have been a fucking lunatic.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think it was good that I didn't probably. I do regret not having that time behind me, but I am happy that I started when I started.
Yeah.
What do you think it would have looked like had you been younger?
I think I would have went harder.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
That energy is
That
real.
energy, that young energy.
I got like
something.
4 years of that, and I was
Yeah,
out
like
of it.
starting at 30 and then driving 4 hours for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, just I'm
Yep.
hungry for it. I'm
Yep.
hungry for it. I'm hungry
Yep.
for it. At 30, it don't last as long. 'Cause you
Yeah, I don't
gotta
think
real-
I could right now drive 60,000 miles a year, or whatever.
And you did
crazy,
for a while, yeah.
Whatever crazy number I was driving, you know,
Yeah.
every week.
Living in an RV.
But
right?
now I'm just flying, doing the same thing every week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm still doing it, and
I think I'd probably be further ahead, definitely,
Yeah.
just because my drive would have been way more.
What do you want now? Do you know what you want? Because earlier you were saying you're
do me a favor.
write it on this napkin.
Yeah.
I'll see you in 3 years.
see you in
baby.
3
The
years,
matchbook and be like,
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
do it yet.
But because this is I'm kind of going through it now where I'm trying to figure that out. So it's not like I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck it is that I want, and wondering if you have any idea what the fuck you want. Either
I mean, I
one
still
of you,
want
right?
to do like some late nights. You know, I want to get on TV.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to do everything, but I want to do some of the things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because
But I also
because
feel
you know
old.
you can't.
Well, I also feel
'Cause
like
you
I'm-
can,
I
right?
can. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I can.
I mean, at the end of the day, some of the funniest motherfuckers in the world think you're one of the funniest motherfuckers in the world.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that,
You know what I mean?
man.
And
Yeah.
it is. I mean,
If only I could think like that.
right.
So I have the same. If I could just think I was funny, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you know, 'cause
Other
he-
times though, you have to have that to be good at comedy. I think you have to have some sense of like
But a
here and
little-
there. You have to feel like when I'm on, nobody can fucking beat this.
Yeah.
You have to have a little bit of that ego in you.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
think to keep
Listen
you
to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we got egos just even getting up there.
Yeah, thinking that people want to
Yeah.
hear it.
But I think with that, for me, is like, oh, I did well. but I fucked this up, fuck this up, fuck
Yeah,
this
yeah,
up,
yes.
fuck this up. So it's always here. I've never once said I killed.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
mean,
Because I
I've
can
said
always
it.
go back and be
I
like,
think because sometimes there's such a joy from doing it that I
Yeah.
can't help but start even.
No.
I can't help but
Yo.
like text people, "Hey, I just killed it."
Yeah.
You know what I found the other day?
Hmm.
I found that all right. So Mike's on stage. John Witherspoon pops. Mike's on stage and he is smashy pants, man. Like I'm like, what? Why is Mike mad at me? I don't understand. We haven't talked in a little while, but I don't know why he's this pissed. You know what I mean? Like burying me before I go up. And then I went up and I had a really good time. He set the room up perfectly. It was one of the best sets I ever had. I had a bunch of people all over the club. There was shows upstairs. They were like, "Yo, we just heard what you did downstairs." I was like, "Yeah, you know, that's what we do." Da, 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 you know?
that's what we do. That's
And then
what
they
we
were
do.
like, "We're gonna come to the next one." And I remember Jordan Fisher's dad walked in. I saw him, and I was happy to see him because I was like, "I'm gonna smash it." And he's gonna have to text Jordan and be like, "Yo, your boy's fucking smashing you." And so I remember you went up. So I found the set. I did so poorly that I left the building and left my phone in the room.
I can understand
I was
that.
scrolling for long sets, and I saw one that was an hour and 45 minutes, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But it was just my 25 minutes, and then Pops and me just dying, dude. I don't know what happened to me on stage, but I got one laugh the entire time, dude. It was fucking hilarious.
It's comedy.
Yo, so Pops after the show, he would take Polaroids and he would sell his bow ties, but he would spend time with every one of these motherfuckers. And I would like help him try to speed this up because everybody's downstairs drinking, but that's what happened. It was an extra half hour of people being drunk downstairs. I remember a woman, she put her feet up on the table.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, all right, you know. And then I said something about a hurricane. And she said, And I said, what? I said, what do you mean? She said, we don't get those. I said, you don't get weather? And nobody laughed, dude. And then she like got me off of the story I was on. I changed directions. It was the first time in years that I was like, I got to get the fuck off stage early.
Right.
I think I did all my time, but it was like the only laugh I got was 6 minutes later when I was in the middle of another bit and I looked back at that lady. I said, your fucking hockey team is the Hurricanes, you dumb bitch.
Oh yeah. If you'd have thought of that 6 minutes ago, you could have saved the set.
I know. That's the only laugh I had. But I remember you went up right before me and they were flat. It was so weird to have one of the best sets I had ever had so close to one of the worst sets.
That's why I hate a good. Well, I hate doing so well the first show. There's no way you can
can't.
top the second, and you're just like, well, I should just should I even go up?
Right.
Because you know that second one is just gonna be like, yeah.
It felt like it felt like we unlocked something in that early show, and then I definitely tried to recreate it in the second show. And
That's the thing. I think that's what I was about.
Yep.
That's the thing. When we try to recreate,
yeah,
but it's impossible.
yeah, because you're not in that
And
moment.
you're not in that moment or those people.
I said a line
But you
to
try
it.
to train them to be like that last.
And you
guy
try to
not.
say the line like you're watching. What happens is your connection to the bits is now
You're reading.
watching yourself perform it to the last show instead of being
Perform
connected
it.
to the actual bits
Exactly.
and the moment, and then somehow that comes through. It's
It's so weird. Man.
yeah.
I told you about the time I bombed hard. Probably one of my hardest ones with Michael Blackson.
Okay.
And it was like in Rocky Mount. It looked like a middle school cafeteria, right? So I get there and Mike Spurlock, you know Mike Spurlock.
Yeah.
So he drove me because I didn't have a car. So we get there. I go up. I had this bit about guilty white people.
Did you know Dan Saw too? By the way.
Yeah.
So So did we meet back in the Dan Saw, Mike Spurlock days? Because that's a long time before. But it would have just
That's
been
kind of
briefly.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, it
was
would have
you guys-
probably just, because Mike was one of the first people I started hanging with. I think Dan Saw was just leaving.
Yeah,
all
I
that.
love Dan Saw, and Mike was. I just
dude.
loved his mind too.
Dude, he's such a good.
Was
front
he the
end one.
nothing but net guy?
Yeah, nothing but God. It's so good. He said I hit the lunchroom. I threw what did he say?
I threw a
ball,
basketball in the
and hit a-
lunchroom and hit a lunch lady.
hit a lunch lady in the head. Nothing but that.
Nothing but net.
Genius.
That's such a good one.
Oh, dude, he's so good. Like,
So, go ahead. Michael
Sorry,
Blackson.
sorry.
no. So Mike drives me. I go up there. I had this guilty white people bit, and I was like, you know, my friends be like, oh, I'm so sorry. What happened to your family back in the day with slavery? I'm like, give me $5 then. Right? And then these 3 black girls decided to have a conversation on how much money they should get. So done, right?
Yeah. How much money should they get?
Yeah, right. No, man, shit, $5, whatever. Right? So I get off. I got nothing.
Yeah.
The guy's like, well, you're here. You're a comic. You want to do some time? So Mike, they give Mike some time. Mike goes up. I'm at the bar. Mike out there just crushing it, like murking it, just right? So I'm like, at least he's having a good show. So he sits down. Those 3 black girls that had a problem with me are surrounding him, buying him drinks. Bartender comes up to me and is like, yeah, you cut off. I'm like, I ain't having one drink.
You're cut off.
So then Mike's like, yeah, man, I think we're going to Mama's house. I was like, Mama? Who's Mama? He's like, that lady right there. I was like, okay. So boom, we ended up in a downtown in the hood of Rocky Mount, which in Rocky Mount, just a hood. Anyway, so we're there, girls sitting there. I'm here, Spurlock's here. Hey, y'all, we went to a comedy show. He, the comedian, she reached around me
Yeah.
to where I had to lean back and be like this. And then she goes, oh, he was there too. And I'm just like, fuck. That was one of the worst bombs I ever had, man. It hurt.
You gotta.
I had to chase the booker down to get my money. And I felt bad about that.
How many more?
Asking for where you feel bad asking for your money.
After a bad one.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Do you have that? You got to meet me over here. I come over here. It's like, oh, you just missed me. I'm like, do I have to catch this thing? Got a net. Give me my money.
like,
That's one of my least favorite moments in life is having to go ask for that money, especially if it went bad. If it didn't go as well as you thought it, and having to go ask for that money, man, I'd rather just set the building on fire and leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just feels really. Ugh.
I kind of did that at a corporate gig I did.
Set a building on fire?
I did a thing. No, I did a gig. I wish. It would have been nice because it was a CBD company. I did this thing for SunMed, and it was maybe the worst show I've ever. It was every part of it was bad, and I basically just left and had them mail me my check. I just couldn't. I felt so fucking shitty, but it was. You know, there was a lot of factors that made it go bad. But,
Oh, I'm sure. It's
Yeah.
like, especially corporate.
yeah.
Like my first corporate gigs, man. Like my buddy would take me and I would eat it. I'm like, oh, Domino's Pizza. Y'all like weed, right? No one can say
Right.
yeah when their bosses are right there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, great job. You stick with it, man. You got something, you know. And I'm about to lick everything on this fucking buffet.
Yeah.
Just rub my balls on every fucking thing. That's how mad I was, but
Yeah.
it's more mad at myself,
Same.
you know. But Lumpy, you remember Lumpy?
Yeah.
I credit him because
That's such a great sentence, by the way.
You remember Lumpy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember Lumpy, right?
Yeah.
But
Good for
I
you.
credit him for making me better because he would come and kick me off the list and just tell me you ain't funny enough. I'd be mad as fuck.
Do you think comedy needs more of that now? Like
Yes.
it's and
Yeah.
less
Isn't it-
less supportiveness, and you're doing
Yeah.
great.
Now it's
You can say
Participation trophies.
yeah, that
Really, you're the old man making fun of participation trophies? Is
Yeah.
that what's happening right now?
absolutely. That's Unk. I'm
Yeah.
Unk.
I got called Unk once. There it is.
I know. Like I said, man, I got called Unk once.
Yeah,
Now
but
I
you-
just give unsolicited advice.
So that's a fun. It's a interesting topic, right? Like because when you guys started, you fucking forever ago.
We didn't even have jokes.
We had to tell jokes uphill both ways.
We had to tickle the audience.
But and so I came in having that same kind of thought process because comics before me did, and listening to them talk, like it's supposed to be a difficult thing, and it's the ocean. You're trying to be in it. Well, it's trying to push you out of it. But then there is something to be said for
Supportiveness.
and
It works around
everyone
here. It does.
being wrong for a very long time. Do you know what I mean? So I think you can create an environment where you're getting false positives and people think they're funny when they're not. That's the worst. Do you know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of that.
And there should be some sacrifice to be in it, and it should be a little difficult. But then it also has to be accessible to fucking people who just need it. Because I've met so many people who just needed to do it.
Yes.
And I was one of those people. So when I see that, I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? I got a soft spot for it. But I mean, yeah, there's a balance. Is it an overcorrection that happened? Or?
No, I think now everyone is just. I think social media screwed it up a little bit because everyone's posting stuff. Oh, dope show, and it's like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I was there.
Dude, I remember when in
I
college.
was there.
I was there.
I'm
It was-
crushing.
I
Just
mean, I'm not
picture.
saying it and to be mean, but I'm like, you're not helping them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I remember I did a joke. It was a terrible joke, but I'm still proud of it. Fuck Joe Perot. Because me and Joe Perot lived together, right?
Yeah.
So these two girls, this was at a bar, so I tried to recreate it, and they were talking about how they got a new puppy, and the puppy keeps going in the cat box eating the cat shit. And I kind of chimed in and said, "Oh, I've seen that movie. It's called Two Purrs, One Pup." Right?
That's funny. Yeah, it's
I
funny.
think that's pretty
Especially in the
funny.
moment.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But not on stage. So then Joe comes up with two other comics. He's like, "Yo, what's up? That last joke?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need those keys."
Yo.
You know, he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna need those keys. You gotta
Yeah.
get your shit out." But I mean, it's like digging in me because the joke was terrible. But he's like, "Let me know, like, come on, man, you can do better than that."
Yeah.
But I
okay.
think that's what we're missing. Like,
Oh yeah. Giving each other, being willing to call someone on
yeah,
like,
I mean, it's
like you-
harshness by love,
yes,
Ball breaking.
ball breaking.
or like, dude, you can't. That's fucking hacky as shit. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys call each other out like that, Seth, a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
all
That's
the time.
well, that's what we're
I mean,
talking
it's like
about.
with my friends.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
I mean, there are people I do comedy with, and there's people that you like are with socially outside of comedy, and then
Yeah, I don't want none of you motherfuckers tagging my jokes.
Yeah.
Don't tag my joke. Don't tell me I'm bad. Go fuck yourself.
I like
Yeah.
tagging jokes.
No,
man.
I know it's fun.
No, yeah, I think that's cool. But I just think now there's two. I think there was at least in the scene where I'm at, I'm going to be very careful. But I think that group that left, that was coming up, the Maddies, Kenyans,
yeah,
and all
yeah.
them, they were the young ones coming up that were funny. They all took off.
Yeah, which is the right thing to do.
That's what you should
It
do.
is, but the ones behind them didn't get the chance to see how good they are.
Yeah,
So
to measure against them, have to
measure.
to go into a show and have to be funnier than these funny motherfuckers.
yeah, so I think they're a little slower to get to that point because they don't have that middle group that was.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
what I'm
that
saying?
gap, and like
that
this gap. Somebody's got to step forward and sort of mold that group into
Yeah,
a better
and I
group.
think it's getting there now.
Yeah.
but it's taken a while to get to that point.
Right.
But also
You,
the
you are
entitlement.
Unk though. Now you're talking like
No,
Unk
yeah,
right
I am.
now.
I definitely am. But I think
So
there's
so you are automatically being more supportive than. You know what I mean?
yeah, but I still like I can't be mean. That's never been in my nature.
Yeah.
Oh, I got that.
I don't know.
I got that a little.
No, I mean like not to their face.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm positive you said some mean shit to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Well,
positive.
you were different.
Right.
You came up like how I came
Yes.
up. So
yeah.
I
So
think
we
we're on the
did that
tail
for
end
each
of
other.
that.
Yeah.
So because you used to bust my when we first met, you were
Oh
busting
man,
balls.
everybody.
You know?
Yeah, I was the worst at it. That's why it's so funny to me.
I sent him a recommendation one time to
Yes.
somebody that was like, he will clear out all the shit. Basically, it was like, he's a great comic that's going to be supportive of everybody, but he's also going to clear your comedy scene out of all the people that are terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that, but it was something like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Eric
you
Yoder
went
and
up
Steve
my
would go
first
around
night.
with the 12 points of why you should quit.
He had that, or you had that?
No, it was like I think Steve Brady wrote it. He was like a 12-point presentation on why you should quit, which was hilarious. So
It was
like after somebody said, he would text it to him.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think there's, I like being supportive now just because I didn't have a ton of people who were really supportive of me, right?
Yeah.
And so I was watching this Biglia doc that just came out about him writing. It's the one about the jokes, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the name of it. But he's sitting around and he's writing, and he said a couple of things. And one of the things he said was that he's aging into being a mentor now, and it made me think like I don't think I had that. I had friends, or I had buddies. We'd break each other's balls. We'd help each other out, but I didn't have mentor.
I didn't either.
You didn't either.
I had friends of mine that I worked with, that I wrote with. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I had like, I would say like peers that were also that I like, Daryl Lennox,
Yeah.
and Danny Bevins and Kostaki, and you know what I mean, like some of these guys that I was around a lot.
You didn't have anybody that was ahead of you, kind of,
Going, hey kid, come here, let me show you how it's done.
yeah. Or just like do this, don't do this. Did you have anybody like that?
Well, Mike Sparlett was that for me.
Okay.
You know, like I would write with him. I love writing with him because when I started, I was more of a one-liner comic. But then when I got more comfortable, I started telling stories. So it was kind of cool writing with Mike because he's so quick and witty, you know. And, you know, you kind of learn how he thinks. So I would help him write, but then that's also helping me.
Yep.
You're right.
Right. So
It's
when-
funny. I was thinking today. I showed my son a Dave Attell clip, and then we watched the second one, and I was like, man, I want to watch that special just to get the word flipping. Like you start to hear the technique, and then my mind will start to think along those lines.
Yeah, yeah.
He was talking about like bondage. Haven't said you guys into bondage? Yes. I had a girl online. She tried to tie me down with a mortgage. It's like such a great fucking flip.
Twist,
Like,
yeah.
I love that. You
But
know?
that's like when I started doing all the, when I started really tagging my jokes, it was because of Mike. Because
Yeah.
like Mike was just one of those. That's how he thought. One of my favorite jokes is like, man, I like real kinky girls or freaky girls. I dated a girl who had a stud in her nose, a stud in her nipple, and before that date was over a stud in her ass.
Yeah, that was one of his
'Cause
classics.
man, I
forgot.
wonder what that guy's name was. You know? But like just the way there's just so quick.
Yeah.
Like, damn, how do you get there? So I used to help Mike create a whole list. He's like, man, I can't do this shit for 30 minutes. I'm like,
Yes.
dude, there's stories. You got this group here. You got this group here. So when I was doing that for him, I was
Yep.
actually helping myself out, grouping my stuff together.
I mean,
yeah.
anytime you're kind of helping somebody develop a technique, it reinstills the fact that you know that technique exists and using it. Like all these little tools. I love talking to all these like dumb kids now. Like,
And we just did it right before everyone came.
yeah, yeah. Well, he has a bit, and I was like, I've been fucking thinking about this bit. I didn't even remember what the bit was, like the words. I was like, there's something about it that if you change, it fucking makes it better. I was like, zoom out. Does it have to be this one specific group of people? You know what I mean? Like shit like that.
That makes me sound bad. But
See, that might
No,
be,
no, no.
That might be my problem with writing is that I'm not helping others right now. I haven't been doing that.
So are you in a writing slump? You think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is it because of you're not getting as much, getting on stage as much, or and that just naturally leads to not writing, or are you just not?
Well, I think it's I think it's multiple things. Now I'm single, so I'm experiencing more shit again.
Right.
I just think I was just like, I guess not getting much stage time either. So when I was in a relationship, my stage time went down, and then the misery went down. It's like, but now it's like, okay, I'm starting to get it back slowly
Right,
but
yeah, yeah.
surely. It's like, okay. all
That's
right, I
how
got
I've been
enough.
feeling the last year or two. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm super excited about comedy again. It's like, I have this sort of like, I can do that. I'm good at that. You know what I mean? It's like like I'm coming out of this sort of well of like I'm just doing it.
I got caught coasting. I was definitely coasting, especially after like my album. It's like, oh, now you got pressure writing a whole new hour, and I'm like, shit, fuck, I think I added too much pressure. Everything I thought it was like, that ain't funny enough, without even working it out.
Yeah, it's
Right.
one of my favorite
You
things
know?
is like when we
It's
think
hard to
about
work
the
out.
big chunk of material that we need. We need a new hour. I always like, so I see the open mic kids come and they're like, new 4 minutes, new 3 minutes. I'm like, nah, you need new 30 seconds a week. You get 30 seconds a week. At the end of the year, you got 26 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like breaking it down in that, like, all right, I can get
Yeah, that's probably how I need to think about it, because I definitely put a lot of pressure on
Yeah,
it.
because you can get 30 seconds a week, guaranteed. You know what I mean? You're
I'm
ahead
working
of
on that, like that exact thing, like
Yeah.
trying to build a new 2 minutes and then another two, you know. And so I have a list sort of at the beginning of every week of like these 10 jokes I'm going to work on this week. You know?
Right.
And then
You're are you an organized guy? Because it sounds like
I used to be.
when it comes to putting material together, are you able to chunk it up and like see it, or you just go on stage and you just have to do it?
Well, I used to do that.
Yeah.
And, I used to take all these chunks and be like, well, last show didn't do well, so I'll take this chunk, put it here, here, here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
where I can know my shirt forwards and
yeah.
backwards.
Shuffle it all up
Yeah,
and do it
shuffle
whatever.
it all
way,
up.
Yeah.
But I felt myself becoming a robot to that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know what? I got 2 jokes in my head. And then whatever else comes
Yep.
out to
Yep.
make it seem more natural.
So you went on stage last night. Did you open with a bit, or did you open with a thought? What was it?
you're a really
a
good
bit.
question asker, man.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Yeah, can you come on my show more often and take care of this?
Hey, you get me once a month. But,
Well, last night I started off with a bit, but the bit is conversational. I like to start off conversational. Just I always started like when I started, I always like, man, it's a conversation between you and the crowd.
Right.
To try to make me comfortable, but also try to make it not seem so jokey.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like if you're hanging out with a friend and they get in the car and then you pull out a list of shit you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what the fuck are we doing? You know
Because
what
I
mean?
start off with my.
No,
court.
you don't do that, Tom. God damn it, you son of a bitch. Tom's got a friendship set list. He's like, we're hanging out. We're going to work these bits today.
Yeah. I'm so jealous of that.
So you go up. So the conversation is to get you both
Just to
feeling
get
in a
going.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I usually like, depending on where I'm at, like, you know.
what'd you open with yesterday?
When you say conversational, do you mean you walk up and be like, "Hey, how are you doing? What do you do for a
No.
living?" Or do you start having a conversation like you start talking about a thing that's happened to you
Yes,
that day?
yeah. So I talked about going to court.
Okay.
It's like, you know, I just start off saying, like, feels good to be out, feels good to be free. 'Cause I had to go to court Monday, and the only reason why I'm here is because I'm getting it continued, because I'm going to jail. Just to let y'all know, I'm going to jail.
Are you?
Not anymore.
Okay, good.
Not anymore. It all got dismissed. But just to start it off like that, like, you know, just try to make it sound like, hey, y'all. How y'all
Yeah,
doing?
I'm
Let me tell you
locked
what
in.
happened.
I want to know.
Let me tell you what happened to me. Kind of, you know, feeling.
What did happen? What do you mean? What were you going to jail for?
I think last time I was,
it
here, I
weed?
was going through it. Yeah, they got
Okay.
a pound of weed.
A pound.
Someone snitched on me, and they broke up in my house. I say they broke up in. I let
I
them
love it.
and they got my weed. The
It's
funny-
it's this head rub from a bald black man is my favorite storytelling
Look,
device.
it's like, man, shit went sour, man.
So
Goddamn, man, shit tough. Shit tough, bro. Well, the funny thing is,
pound
that,
is a lot, right?
yeah,
yeah,
that's a
but
lot.
the fucked up thing is,
Was that your supply for the year, or do you should I
know.
be
Well,
getting
he's-
weed from you?
I mean, he should not be.
holla at your boy. I don't do that no more, but holla at your boy. No, I'm gonna tell you the crazy part, right? I had a jar of liquid diamonds,
Okay.
and that jar alone was way bigger charge than all the weed I had.
Yeah.
What is diamond?
Because they
It's basically like dabs.
yeah.
But
So it's
it's like
wax.
the most pure wax you can get.
Well, it's because of the way they
Process it.
it's the way they process it. They process it by like weight of it's like the percentage of THC in it, and then expounded by if it was actual flower weed.
So it's like 98%.
Yeah, I remember my friend Alan Park when he had cancer. He was doing a lot of
Yeah.
making some of that himself. Like
Okay.
it was massive amounts of weed that went into making the medicine that he
Yeah.
that he was taking. you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he looked at the jar and tossed that shit to the side, and I just was like, at least he left me something to smoke.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a detective on either side, and he's just going through my shit, got my weed, got my scales, and then he looked at that jar and it said it right on the front, or like weed diamonds, and he just looked at it, tossed it to the side. I'm like,
I wonder if he did that on purpose and he knew what it was, or if he didn't know. If it didn't,
I think they were looking for cocaine. That's the funny part. They didn't care about the weed. That's why I'm like, well, put it back where you found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
If you really don't care.
Yeah, but my lawyer was dope. He got me off. He said he went up there.
So-
I love that he was dope.
I knew you were gonna say that.
My lawyer's dope. Literally dope. He
Yeah.
just walks in a
Got
block.
a dope lawyer. Dude.
He's just got a van. But yeah, he went out there. He said, "Look, man, I got a cancer survivor with one ball that tells jokes for a living." And then they're like, "All right, dismissed."
Fuck, I
That's
forgot about
great.
that. Yeah.
Did you at least sign an album for him or something? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh no, he said.
do you have
This
to
is
prove
what
it?
my lawyer said, right? He goes, "You owe me a thick white girl with tattoos and an expensive bottle of liquor." I said, "On the way."
Yeah.
Renee. Because he did his. I mean, they did it. What the cops are doing was illegal. Anyway, how
Right.
they're trying to make me become a confidential informant. He's like,
Oh, they busted somebody with a little bit of weed.
they
He
put
sort,
somebody with cocaine.
and then they rolled on you, and then or they're like, I know a guy that does this, and then they went to you, and they're just trying to go up the chain, and you're like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, so I don't fuck with cocaine like that.
Yeah.
He found a baggie with some powder in it, and he goes, "What's this?" He was in my car, and I was like, "I don't know. You found it." You know,
You
I
tell
knew
me.
exactly what it was though. It was like, I was like, I guarantee you, when you test it, it's gonna do the opposite of what you think it is.
What was it?
It was like residue from my fucking hypertension pills.
Oh, okay.
I love that.
That's
He's
great.
like,
No, man. I feel okay.
all right, man.
I just took those
This
when I saw
guy's
you
not so
pulling
bad.
up.
Maybe crack is good for me.
No shit.
But yeah,
So that had to be some stress. Like,
listen.
So
let
you
me
got to
tell you,
have
I
5
told you
minutes
when it
on this,
happened,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it happened. that happened on a Friday. That Monday, I was going to film my first shit for D.L. Hughley.
What are you doing for D.L. Hughley?
I did this show called D.L. Speakeasy.
That's cool.
But I didn't think I was going to make it because it was on
Right.
a Friday they got me. And they would have taken me to jail when I got out in time to catch my flight.
Yep.
Because I had to go to Charlotte to catch my flight.
And you'd be lucky to get to court by Monday morning. You know what I mean? Like, you get arraigned and all that shit.
So
Well, if you're on bail or whatever, then you can't leave the state to go to record.
well, now on the weekend,
Oh.
you got to wait for the whole weekend for the judge to come in. So they're like, we ain't going to do nothing to you today. But when you come back, I was like, man, I got to go out of town. Like, I got a very important show. But the show wasn't even fun.
Oh, was
I
it?
forgot about
Stressed.
I forgot about the fucking cancer thing. So now that makes me angry as fuck that they even thinking about fucking with you. You have some weed.
Well, they just wanted cocaine.
Yeah.
They ain't even cared.
So they were misinformed.
I had to go.
Fucking up your day on some rumors.
Oh, man, fucked up my set. Because I
Yeah.
did not like my set.
Okay.
Like, DL loved it. But I'm like, that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like people
'Cause
tell
you
you it's
had
good
other-
and you're like, nah.
Because you had other shit on your mind?
Oh, dude, that was on. It was fresh.
Right.
It just happened.
You can still have a good set, but you don't. You know, like that. I wasn't connected in any way there, and it was like,
Man, I was going through the motions.
yeah. But sometimes you're good enough at it and experienced enough at it that the motions are
Good enough.
what works.
Yeah.
Because of
Well,
it's like Seinfeld used to say about getting ready for his Tonight Show, where he would do it 100 times. So
Mm-hmm.
when he was standing there to do it, his mind could be wherever the fuck it was, but the muscle memory shit would take over. You
Yeah.
know? That's with dementia. Does sort of just normal like muscle memories and stuff like, or do you start to lose muscle memory too, or
Well,
do you?
it's weird. Like, Eric say he watches my dad videos driving around. I just play old school music and knows every word to those songs.
Yeah.
You know, like music's powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I bet
So,
comedy albums he'd remember them too.
he'd probably be like, oh, like,
Yeah.
no, Daddy, you can't do that. Don't,
Yeah.
don't do
He
that.
doesn't remember the bad shit Cosby did.
Oh, pudding pop.
Bill Cosby can still be funny.
Yeah,
dude.
right.
I heard he's supposed to be trying to go back on tour.
What else can he do, dude?
Yeah.
What
You
else
know?
does he have to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Like he's probably. I think he's set without the road.
I think his downfall is saying, let me buy NBC. They're like, we got to do something with this black man.
Yeah, we can't have that happening.
We gotta. He fingering girls, but I mean, he still talks about Spanish flies like they got them candy.
Yes, there would be more charges if it weren't for dementia, because that was how long ago it was, and a lot of women have totally forgotten that he did that to them. They're so
Some people
old.
try to jump in on
Yeah,
it. But yeah,
but I wonder, have you ever tried listening to a comedy, an old
I think
comedy
I'll try
album? with him?
that. I'll pull up an old.
Play one of
album.
Tom's albums for him.
No. Play something he's listened to before.
So what's this? I mean,
So-
he'll probably enjoy it.
Who's this white feller?
Feller.
I remember. So Billy Gardell was one of the first people that took a liking to me, and he said I reminded him of Franklin Ajay, and I was like,
Oh, I love
shit.
Franklin Ajay.
Yeah, dude.
So we went out. He said, I need to go to Barnes & Nobles. Went to Barnes & Nobles. Next thing I know, he's like, here you go. Gives me a whole fucking album, like fucking vinyl.
Hell yeah.
I still got it.
Franklin Ajay?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I still listen. Well, I mean, I loved it. I was like, I know that name.
Yeah, he's really good.
And
He
then I was
one of
looking,
mine.
I was like, man, thank you, man. But I don't think I'm nowhere near that, you
Yeah.
know? Because he was.
I think you
Franklin-
just reminded him of like
The
the
attempt.
style, like
The
the
style, the
style of like,
smoothness,
you know,
yeah.
sort of like, except, you
I
know,
can see that, man.
except, you know, I used to love not that I don't like Franklin Ajay, but the last time I went and listened to a Franklin Ajay set, I was like, oh, okay. Like some of the stuff that I loved about him, now I'm like, oh, okay, he laughs at every joke himself.
Oh, yeah.
Like some of that stuff that you're like, okay, if he wasn't doing like, because he's a really good joke
But there's
writer.
different ways that people do that. There's ways that comics do that as a crutch, and then there's
That's what I felt when I listened.
Okay.
It felt like he was doing it
as a
because
rhythmic
I've always
a
thought
technique.
of Franklin Ajay as being so confident that he's willing to wait for those jokes and speak
I would have to go
slowly
back and
and
listen.
get there.
Yeah.
And then when I listen to it now as an old comic who's been around, now I see like, oh, it
you see the
it's-
technique.
I just see what I see is what I thought was patience is he doesn't really have, because you don't laugh at all your jokes before the crowd if you're secure in your jokes
It depends.
for the most part.
It depends. JD does it. JD
Yes.
laughs at his jokes, but it's because he thinks it's funny.
I laugh at my jokes too. So
Yeah,
I'm not-
yeah,
But I
exactly.
mean, but in the
But there's a
same
difference
place in the same
between-
way every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
there's
yeah.
a difference when it's a rhythmic tool or it's a genuine, I'm fucking playing with this thing.
Right.
And it's making me giggle. Like, those are different things.
And the last set I listened to him might have just been one set, because sometimes
Right.
we are in that headspace where we're,
Yeah.
you know, and,
They
and
had
I,
to work the crowd that night.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
There's this one comic.
he was great though. I can't even remember any of his jokes, but I just remember loving
Yeah.
Franklin Ajay because I was.
I remember this one comic. I won't say his name. Big Thief. Invited me on the road with him, and he was teaching me how to be funny without being funny. And I was just like, he said, "Yeah, when I go up there, I'm like, you know what I'm talking about. You point at somebody, but I see you laughing. I know what you're talking about." And then he's like, and then how I really get him is when I take my jacket off, put it on the floor, and then and then I watched him, and I was like, "Shut the fuck up.
It's all tricks.
It's all tricks." And I don't know why.
I can appreciate those comics to an
Sometimes.
extent. I've been on the
Yeah,
road
but
with
I'm
a
like,
couple of
but
them.
you're still in the best of other people's shit. Like, why you?
That
Yes.
the stealing is not. Yeah,
I remember sometimes I would watch, especially when I was a young comic, I would watch guys that be on there like, you know what I'm talking about, this guy over here. Like he's just
Yeah.
pointing to someone and saying they're doing something.
And
they're not doing that. Like I was just in the back, like
I can't wait till the
so
next time we have a
angry
show
to be
together.
like, no,
I'm gonna do all this shit. Bro.
nobody over there said that. Stop.
I can't wait.
You
I can't wait.
motherfucker.
I'm gonna do 45 minutes like that.
Yes.
Of all the shit you hate, this guy gets it.
Huh? Right here.
This motherfucker.
This guy's
over
got it. He
here.
knows what
This
he's
guy's
doing.
looking at me like he's never seen shoes. He's not even looking. That's not even a man. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, shit. I remember one open mic. I'm like reading off my list. I was like, pick a joke off there, sir. He's like, no, I don't want to. It's like, fine. Someone doesn't want to play. I didn't know the whole front row was blind people.
Oh, that's fucking
that's
hilarious.
funny.
But fuck the fires, I wrote a joke about. I was like, I should have known by all the German shepherds. So I just thought they were a step crew with all the canes. You know?
That's funny. See, I think that's the difference, right? It's like,
This guy sees what I'm talking about. He's like, no, you don't. I promise.
so where are you performing mostly? Like, how much are you getting up?
We just did a show together in Winston about a month ago. We did one of those
The
Don't
Don't
Tell
Tell?
shows.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Were you
Yeah.
on that Instagram?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think so.
It was kind of a dick move by me, but I was frustrated.
What happened?
Oh, I ain't see it.
The group message on Instagram after the thing, I was like, I just want to say I really appreciate how everybody stuck around and supported one another, because at the end of the show, me and Mello were the only ones there. Like literally one of the comics was leaving, knocked over the entire light system
Oh, yeah,
on
that's
her
right.
way to walk out of the show because she had to go. You know what I mean? And so I gave
They
them
just
a
went
little.
next door to drink.
So I gave,
Oh,
they
is
were
that
just
true?
going next door to drink instead. And so I was a little like, that was kind of a dick move of you guys. And then, you know, and I immediately sort of took it down, but they all saw it.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I'm glad you.
So I was, because I felt that. Like, it felt,
I'm like,
at the
why?
end of the show, it was just like me and you there, and we're talking.
So that's man, maybe that's a little bit of what's happening with the being supportive and people being I always, to me, if there's a better comic in the building, I need to stay in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if
Oh,
there's a better
absolutely.
comic on stage, I need to stay in the room almost always. Like, I want to walk around and go fuck off, but if I was a young comic and one of you guys was there, I got to watch that whole thing. That's the only way I'm going to get better, man.
Well, there's a lot of, I think now, and I think that
Kids these days.
kind of kids these
Tell 'em, Mike.
days,
Yeah.
there's a lot of arrogance, a lot of entitlement, more than I think usual. Right
Okay.
now.
That's
And I think it's because
it's because there's a bunch of people that have they're rich kids that can do comedy. that
Nah,
can
I don't
afford
think
to do
so,
comedy.
man.
I
I don't think so. I think it's
You're right. I just said
common
Jay
is that,
Whitecock's
yeah.
words. Those were literally Jay Whitecock's
well,
words.
I think it's I think the fact that it becomes more accessible because it's
It
more
is.
accessible because of the internet, because there are people. I mean, listen, when I started comedy, I started in 2011, and for a couple years before that, it was right when podcasts really started coming out. I didn't know you can go to an open mic, right? And so now it's so accessible. Everybody knows they can do it. It's a little bit easier to get into it. It's not that you don't have to slog through a fucking sewer drain to get into it now. You can just kind of walk through the front door.
Right.
And people are supportive. I think there's just mistakes that people make
Yeah.
when they're early on, but people do need to say stuff like that. It's just how do they say it? What's the
it's the
delivery
unwritten
system?
rules that some people just need to know.
And some of those rules need to be written down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is, I think, as we become older comics, it's our responsibility. If we want to see that shit, we have to mention it. But also, we have to know that these young, very intelligent human beings are not likely to listen to us the same way we would not be likely to listen to older people. So it's delivery
Yeah.
system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really hope that the comics that I fucking talk to and help out turn into good comics. And part of that is being like, yo, when you go to a club, this is the way you behave. I can imagine there are a lot of young comics who will never be invited back to a comedy club after their first time at the comedy club. But it helps when people like you
Step
guys
in
or
and be
us
like-
will be like, yo,
I do that.
You know what I
It's
mean?
even
I do that.
something simple, like both of us. I mean, we're on the show too, so you're standing there with the other comics. So
Yeah.
they're coming off. You're telling them,
Good
good job, blah blah blah. Hey, that was a really funny bit you did about the thing, but you know what I mean. You have conversation, and then they just fucking leave. You know, it just felt kind of shitty to me, like to
Yeah.
see
You know,
that
one of my
happen.
favorite things
and
that-
then to knock over. Like he
Yeah, that
walks
is-
up on stage, says hello. You know, he's basically saying hello, and that all gets
Ping,
stopped.
ping,
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 ping.
ping.
Lights go out. The
Like
sun's gone.
construction.
I think there needs to be a new rule, and I learned this from James Hodge, and I was very excited when he said it. And I think I don't know how he intended it, but I know I pulled out the good, maybe what he intended. But he's like, I don't go up last anymore. I was like, yeah, that's a fucking great idea, dude. If you're not at a club, I ain't going last. I don't need to be last, dude.
Yeah,
Put
same.
me up, yo.
Pisses me off. so
You're
much.
doing 30, everybody else is doing 15, 10s, 5s. I was like, where am I going? You know what I mean? And they're like, you're going last. Nah, second, dude. You know what I mean?
Man, there's a good month at good nights. They were like, all right, you closing the mic down. I'm like, no,
Yeah, no thank you.
I'm just going to go home.
I used to be last.
I don't want to stay up here all night.
Yeah,
Like,
why am I being punished?
It's
for being
funny,
better?
yeah, because now I go like I'm saying they should have stayed. Like I go to a mic and it's like I do my set. And sometimes
Mics are
I'll just-
different, though.
Well,
Right
mics
out.
are different.
Yeah.
Mics are different
different.
because you got 48 comics going up.
Yeah.
Right. But a regular show, like 5, 6 people, you can stick around.
Sure, yeah. If it's an hour and a half and we're at the end, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing somebody's fucking VFW fucking show or whatever the fuck it is, I don't need to be. Nobody gives a fuck that I'm there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I don't need to be last. Nothing good. It's not going to get better as the night goes on. Let me fucking get my shit in. I'll be good in this second spot. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to stay.
I at least say something. So, like, I was at the Improv, and who was I with? I think it was Chico Blaine. And I was just like, man, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna be able to stay, because it's like one of those, hey, can you do the show tonight?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, good to meet you. Like, I made sure I talked to them all beforehand, but I was like, I might not be here when they get off, because I really got to get home,
Right.
because I got to be in the airport or whatever. So I at least tell them that.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to just be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, so I at least have enough courtesy to be like, hey, man, I'm sorry, I got to dip.
Right.
But, man, good to meet you.
Here's 3 things I made up is why I got a dip.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I did that. I did this.
But
I did a gig in Virginia, and it just so happened that I got a gig for the next morning in Wilmington, and I just had to leave.
yeah.
I was like, I got to get to Wilmington.
Man, I got a whole nother
I got
show.
a job at a morning radio
Yeah.
show. I got
Yeah,
to.
I got to get out of here.
Yeah, I know one time I did live, but I was
If you're
just-
communicating,
I was
you know.
beat. I had worked all day and then had to basically get home rush and then go straight
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I was like, man, I got a whole nother show, man. So I probably won't be here. As soon as I got my check and I was out,
Right.
I went home and I was like,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm old now. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, you do reach an age where you're like, I'm going to do what I got to
Yeah.
do, and I'm going home to my, I'm going home where I can.
So
go
we're
watch
basically
the
saying
Braves
the
game
same
or
thing
whatever.
that those kids were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, we're saying, but we,
yeah,
We
but
just have better reasons.
we earned a right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
There's a
right.
difference. We earned
There
the
is
right
a
to
difference, yeah.
But-
if you
but-
just go next door to drink, it's different. Especially
Yeah,
if
at
you
least go
drink
to a
with-
leave. Yeah, if you're
bar
just going
farther
right there
away.
and then just, I'm gonna have like, why don't you just chill, hang out? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got
you got 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I know who you're talking about, and I think they've been humbled since.
Oh, okay.
So I think they have a little better.
In your
Etiquette.
face, Seth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Seth.
Yeah. Well, I don't
But
want
yeah.
to. I don't want to keep. I don't want to. I know you got a show. What time's your show at?
It's at 8.
Oh, I'm not going. Yo,
Sweet.
he was like, Mike's coming in. I was like, oh, I can go hang out with Mike and not have to go to the club. I'm
Uh-huh.
so excited, dude.
Oh, we got
you,
plenty
but
of time.
you started to talk about a bit you were working on. Is that that's when I was
Yeah.
like, save that. I want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that. Like you feel like you're coming out of a rut and being able to start to write again, right?
Yeah, like I'm changing it up. So now, like, I want to have an idea. Like, I have a theme, I guess. And my theme right now is Black history,
Okay.
how they're trying to get rid of it. So one of the jokes, this is one of the jokes we were talking about.
Who's trying to get rid of it?
I am.
Florida.
Florida,
Yeah.
like, all the little bullshit, getting rid of
Black
different
eye
books
on
and
history
sticks.
jokes is what the white people have. Black eye on history month.
The black eye, black guy mix up there for me when white people say it is like
Too close?
Well, yeah, because what did you just say?
Black eye.
Right.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So I'm
Like
trying to do the
black eye.
play on words like it's a
Yeah.
like bad history. Yes.
So
What?
black guy on history? Is that what we're
Black
talking
eye.
about?
I get it now.
Black eye.
eye on
See?
history.
Yeah,
White
it's too
people have a
close.
black. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I want to hear your shit and stuff. I'm interrupting you with my fucking terrible one-liner.
No, you good. So it's about Harriet Tubman. Like, you know, she carried a gun.
I did not.
You do know what that gun was for?
Hmm.
Most people think it's for slave owners and shit. No, it's for other slaves. So when a slave couldn't go any further, they're like, look, like this movement is way too big for you. And, you know, we can't have you here and they find you and you tell them what we're doing. So at least you get to die free. And she would shoot them.
That's not true, is it?
That's what I've heard.
Wow.
But then I'm like thinking like, see, this is some bullshit because they don't give her credit for coming up with the starter's pistol. I don't know. There's something there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, as soon as you that, like, she ain't playing, y'all. You know,
I feel
white
better
thing was so
already.
quick off the line.
That's
you know what
funny.
I'm saying? But that, and when I broke up with my girlfriend, that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
And I couldn't break up with girls.
I have similar issues.
Yeah, I was like, man, I just wish one of my friends would fuck her. So I could pretend to be mad. Like, why would you do that? Why would you, you know?
Yeah.
I can't
was like,
believe you,
I know.
Tom.
I said the last time I tried to break up with a girl, she started crying. I was like, I'm just playing. Let's get married. You know, like let's have kids. But I knew
Did
I
you get
wanted to
married?
break up. No, I knew I wanted to break up. So what I did is I invited her to a show, and you know the host always asks for your credentials.
Yeah.
So the show starts. It's like, you guys ready for your next comedian? You've seen him on Showtime. You've seen him on BET. You've seen him on Comic View. All lies. You've seen him on Comedy Central. And he doesn't want to see you anymore, Tanya. Y'all put your hands together. That's why I'm kind of working all right, you know.
You could, before you get to that, you could,
Or you could just have a terrible set and she would break up with you, but you're too funny for that, right?
That's it.
well, you invited her
Alright.
to the show and then you did this joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. But I just like the fact, it's like, and he had to do it.
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of me.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
And he doesn't want to see you
Anyway,
anymore.
so I'm single.
Yeah.
Who's on the
It's
app?
like, why are you
She's like-
crying? It's a comedy show.
Recently
Yeah.
single.
She's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that doesn't mean we're breaking up because all that other shit in his intro was made up too.
Yeah. My friend and my roommate said, you should say, and soon to be on ID, like investigation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, damn, that's pretty good. And soon to be on Forensic Files. Y'all put your hands together.
So you had to break this girl's heart?
Do you think, man, isn't it? Do you still have the same feel? I used to have the feelings that when shit like that would happen in my life, that like the comedy got richer. You know what I mean? It got thicker. It got better.
I mean-
but it wasn't. It's not. I used to think it was just shit like that, but it turns out it's just any experience is good for you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Is
I
what
was
I'm
like,
finding out.
I was saying to myself, when I break up with her, I'm gonna have like 30 minutes of
Yeah,
material.
yeah.
And I've gotten a minute.
Yeah, do it. Hey, minute, salute. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, like, you know, she's a really good girl.
Yeah.
We just weren't working out.
sure, yeah, yeah.
And I don't hate her in any way. I still love her, you know.
Yeah.
But she
Life
just,
is complicated.
I like this premise, this angle of like I had to break up with this girl, like, and there's also some, so like you're saying, like you normally would stay in it and blah 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 blah. Like what's the growth happen that made you click to be like, all right, I gotta cut this off before I spend another 2 years here and blah blah blah. Like,
comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy. It was
It's because you're
going
getting old.
down. Shit, you think I'd want to settle down.
Yeah,
But no, it was just like, man, I couldn't do what I love to do
I got you.
without headache.
Right.
My main thing is don't give me any drama on the road when I'm on the road, and every time.
Oh, okay.
I remember one time her kids, she's a kindergarten teacher, her kids wrote all these beautiful cards for me, like, congratulations, Mr. Michael,
Oh,
on
that's
your
cool.
show. Someone drew like a little microphone, head actual size, you know, just microphone. You did a great job. So I took pictures of it and said thank you to Margaret's class, kindergarten class, for these lovely cards. And right before I go up on stage, I get a text, you can't let them know it's your girlfriend's kindergarten class. I'm like,
Yeah.
you fuck. And you know, I just felt this, and I was like, don't. I just
Yo,
edit GF right in front of it. And then right before I go up, I get a call. It's like, what are you mad at me? Obviously, if that's the first question, you know, it's just the little things taking me out.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah.
what
I
I
dated
love to
somebody.
do.
I had a similar experience in my first. It was like my first. It was one of my first years of like really doing it. And every time I left, it was a fight or I felt guilty or whatever it was. And it's one of the pieces of advice that I heard Patrice O'Neal say that like fucking clicked for me. Is I was going up and at this point I was just doing the same shit every night because it was all I had. You know, I had 5 minutes and doing 8-minute sets, trying to figure out how to fucking lengthen it out, whatever. But married to this material, and I felt like I had to do it a very specific way every time I was doing it. But then when my mood would be fucked up, it
Yeah, it changes the whole show.
changes the whole
Because
thing.
the show has to be at that mood.
Has to be at that
I used to
specific
think
mood.
that
for
too.
that
I
thing.
used to try to figure out how can I do this same set angry? How can
Yeah.
I do it
But
happy?
That's
Like,
what I learned. Patrice said, I can't go up and tap dance if I don't feel like tap dancing.
Yeah.
I can't pretend to be angry if I'm not angry. So I do the bits however I feel that day. And I was like, ooh. So it got me she gave me a gift, really, because I had to fucking then figure out how to tell these jokes. It allowed me to tell jokes and not be in a good mood,
Yeah.
Right.
which is 100% of my moods. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, it's very rarely I'm in like everything's cool with me and I feel super happy to be.
So do you have do you when you're walking the stage, does all that, are you bringing all that with you, or do you somehow just step
It's
into a
off,
place
dude.
where you shut down all
Everything's off. Dude, if I can shut everything off, that's like, so my brain doesn't stop talking to me ever at all. Like it's a fucking nuisance and it's really fucking sickening if I'm being honest. But then as I'm walking up the stage, I feel like he's calm because, you know, we're going to the dog park. I'm about to unclick the fucking leash and he
Oh.
can go run around with his friends and act fucking stupid. And then later I'm hopeful he'll shut the fuck up for a little bit. If he has fun, he's all tuck it out and then I can get a little bit of sleep that night. You know what I mean? It's like taking my meds. Like if I show up to a show and like at the Idiot Box and Steve or Jenny's there, they're like, do you want to get up? I'm like, I don't want to press you. They're like, take your meds.
Yeah.
Because they know if I go up, I'll be okay until 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning because I get that out of me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not. If I'm walking on stage, I'm not thinking anything.
Oh, okay.
I'm gone. Like
That's great.
I'm
Do you
gone.
have what's your preparation right before you get up? You
know,
too.
I try to. Man, I'm beating myself up more than anything. I'm nervous. So recently, I don't get up a whole lot anymore. I got to get back into it. I'm trying, which is why I was asking you guys questions I was asking earlier. But I'll like, I'm just trying to not have anxiety, man. So I'll walk around, or I'll fucking sit quietly in the back of the room, listen to the audience. Hopefully I get to smoke a little bit of weed at some point. And then I'm just waiting. I'm just like, man, countdown clock.
Yeah.
I want to get up there, and I want to be up there so I can be up there for as long as I can be up there. Yeah, and just shut this whole fucking thing
I have
off.
to do the opposite on the weed.
Yeah, what are
on
you
the
doing?
weed thing. I want to not smoke.
Yeah.
Spurlock taught me the best shit.
Yeah.
He's like, don't smoke anything all day till right before.
Oh, till right before?
So it's like a wake and bake.
Yeah.
But honestly,
That's what I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Jimmy
tri-
Dore was the same way. He's like, it makes every joke new and blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah. But to me, it starts to add,
Crutches.
no, it starts to add pausing that happens where I do it, I'm in the bit. And then,
You're reading.
huh?
You're in the bit.
Sometimes I'm in the bit like I've never told, and I'm like, this is so fun. Like I'm
Yeah.
telling it better. And then that bit ends and the next bits aren't loaded up.
Yeah.
So
Your cues
So I
slow.
end up kind of standing there and my brain will freeze a little bit, just like what happens when
Yeah.
you're hot, you know what I mean? And then the self-consciousness starts and stuff. So I'll have the best moments I have in comedy that way and the absolute worst. So
It's
I'd rather,
streaking, right?
Huh?
It's like you're naked and you're running through the fucking. You're just streaking, and then all of a sudden you get to a fence you got to hop over. You know what I'm saying? You're having so much fun.
It's
just-
got to be a chain link.
You know what I'm saying? It's that abrupt stop, and you're like, fuck, now everybody's gonna see my asshole when I crawl over this fence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like I create a hypnotizing.
Yeah.
Because like, I'll just say fuck it, because I'll be scared to death.
Yes.
And then I'm always scared to death till they say my name. I was
Yep.
like, well, I can't run now. Fuck it.
Yeah,
And then
same.
Just saying that fuck it clicks me into. So I remember I went to go visit Russell Peters in Atlanta, And I'm just there. He's got a spread in the back. I'm like, who's got beef Wellington in this bitch? You know? So I got a plate like it's Thanksgiving, right? And we're talking. He's like, you've been working a lot, huh? I see. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get like you, man. Yeah. Then he goes, give Mello 10 minutes up front. I was like, huh?
Yes.
And then
I've been
he goes,
avoiding
you
going
can
to the
come
Miss
all the way-
Pat show because I don't want to get put on.
Yeah.
You should, dude.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, you can come all the way down here just to hang out. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Beef Wellington.
I'm ready to eat.
Yeah,
Beef
it's beef
Wellington.
Wellington, man.
And it was like a 4,000 seater.
Oh.
And I had 3 minutes to prepare.
And
for
you
the
doing
show.
10?
I'm doing 10.
So you
And I'm back there. I had to talk to his brother for a minute.
Yeah.
So there's a minute gone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck. And then I was like, I guess I just got to do this new shit.
Yo, that's
Hope it
my
works.
favorite. Not having the option to fucking have any. Yo, that's my favorite. If you could just, I'll be home and you teleport me on stage whenever you want me to. I'll wake up there,
Yeah,
boppity
yeah.
bop bop
Yeah,
bop.
boppity, yeah.
Send me back home, dude.
Yeah,
You know
you'd be
what I
like,
mean? Beautiful.
Sit back in the
What
couch
the
like,
fuck? Whew. Yeah,
The
you
hot
know-
tub joke machine.
Yeah, dude.
But that, I think we talked about it before, that show ruined me for
Yeah.
a month.
What do you mean?
Because it was such a high, intense,
Oh, yeah.
that every show after that, I just felt like I had no energy.
How does somebody like that deal with doing it every night? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I
He's
mean,
just
for
different.
him, that's for him.
Normal,
Becomes
right?
the normal club.
It's a normal club. for
Beef
him.
Wellington's normal, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like we did the MGM. I'm like, I'm about to shit myself.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what are you doing, Mike?
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle. I'm like, all right, you can call me whatever you want with these checks.
Yeah.
But, I'll be down there if you want me to. But that run I did with him, we did 2 casinos. We did the D-Pack in a big place. In,
What was that like, the D-Pack for you?
Oh, man, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The
Because-
D-Pack here, like here
In, yeah.
in
Raleigh.
Durham or whatever. Yeah, that place is special, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 2-man show, too. So it was like, it wasn't like he was just like, to 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I get time. And I was just,
What'd you do, 25, 30?
yeah, like 25 to 30. And man, it felt good because I didn't feel rushed with the 15-minute spot, 10-minute spot.
Right.
And I was like, I still want to get everything in, but it was just the first show I was about to shit bricks. So we did a spot in Charlotte, and then we did a D-Pack. So at least I had a little
Warm up.
before the D-Pack. But then I'm like, I'm in the fucking D-Pack, you know?
I didn't know anything about the D-Pack when I did it. I was just like, I went there to do it, and I was like,
You're like, oh fuck.
yeah,
Yeah.
just, yeah.
I've
And
driven
it's
by
cool
there a
seeing all
couple
the
times.
names on the walls.
Yeah,
and-
you walk. Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
I had to do. I was gonna go. I was gonna host for John Oliver, and it was sold out. you
Seems
know.
like a good match for you.
And then they didn't have. His flight was delayed, so I wasn't on the show at all, and his flight was delayed. And my old agent called me and was like, "Can you go cover?" And I drove there, and I ended up doing about 50 minutes.
Damn.
How
That's
was
tight.
it?
It was one of the best shows I've ever had. I was like, "Oh, you have it up on the screen? Did you record?
Yeah,
It could have been a
yeah.
special." Like it was
Yeah.
like that kind of level of
Yeah.
because I wasn't panicked.
Yeah,
It
didn't
was
have
like,
time.
what,
Didn't have
am I
time to-
doing? Oh shit! Okay. Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
that's the
and then
thing.
you go up and you're like, then you don't even have to worry about what chunk am I doing. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I just keep doing my
Just keep
comedy
going.
until
You
they
start-
give me the
Shift
light.
at
Yeah, you
Domino's.
start and then you keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
That's what I'm realizing now that so I'm out of it. I'm off. I know I can't do what I was doing, but I know the only difference is doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's it.
And it's just I just have to start getting up again. But I don't have that in me that we were talking earlier about driving hours to get 5 minutes. I do not have it in me. I don't have it in me to drive.
But you don't have to do that either.
I got to do something.
Drive 1 hour to Raleigh, and I'll get you 30 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, how did you hook up with all of these? So you're like you're listing sort of all these big name acts sort of that you work with. Is it just from when they came through Raleigh, you made a connection with them, and then they're like, hey, we want to use you.
Well, this is why Mike is special, right? And I don't think you would say this, but this is why he's special. Because those people see Mike, and Mike can perform in front of any crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm a good taste for some crowd. Not every crowd is for me, but Mike is for. I've never seen you open for somebody and be like, he don't fit here. You fit with everybody, and so when you're at good nights in Raleigh and these comics are coming through, they just see how I'm not effortless. It's
It does
how
look
you make it
effortless.
seem looks effortless because you're good at it. You
It's
know what I
only
mean?
because I'm bow-legged. My knees can't knock. They can't get there.
Yes.
You know?
But you do walk on with it. I mean, it must be that fuck it thing because you do walk on
I
like
just
you.
try, like I said before, I just try to make it like a conversation for anybody. Like it took me a minute to get the black crowds.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I had to realize like you gotta put that story shit to the side for a minute.
EB's running into that this weekend, I think, a little bit with his guest sets for the Pat show.
Oh, you got him guest sets over there?
Yeah, so he's been doing
Salute
guest
to
sets,
you.
and I think he's learning a little bit of like, ooh, this is
Comedy
different.
Zone's different.
And an all black crowd is also different. So it's like
Yeah.
you're in your comfort zone, and so he's running into that sort of like, oh, I'm learning another. It's like another
dialect.
yeah. It's like another level of the game where you're like, oh, I got this mastered, and you're like, oh, new screen.
Right, but then one of
quarters.
the things that happens with that is another overcorrection. You end up becoming good enough to work in that situation.
And then you focus it on that.
Yeah, but you have a style that
Transcend
seems
it.
to me you don't have to change who you are or how you're doing your stuff. It's every audience is, I don't know, welcome, man. I always love watching you do it because I see the whole room laughing when you're performing.
Appreciate it.
It's
Yeah.
not pockets.
Where can somebody see your special? Is it online?
Well, it's just audio right now.
Okay.
I think we're about to release like a 30-minute video on YouTube.
Cool.
Put a little 30-minute set together. But for what you asked earlier, it's just working with them.
Right.
Like I saw Russell in L.A. and I was like, I'm gonna work with him one day. He was crossing the street. I was like, that's Russell Peters. He was like, who's that? I was like, you're not a real comedian. You know? But I mean, I'm really fortunate that I got to start when I started, and be at Good Nights when it was still the first owner.
That room is just, it's special. It's like
I
I
think
used to think of like there was 2 rooms in the South that have that thing, and that Good Nights was one, and Punchline was one. It was like Yankee Stadium. Like
I knew
two little,
it was a top 10 club in the country because I knew about it before I started comedy.
right.
You know, you would hear comedians tell stories, and
Like on Jay
it would
Leno
be
mentioned
Caroline's, the Cellar, the Store, and in the 10 clubs that were going to be named, Good Nights was going to be up there.
I think
Was
what
it-
makes it so dope is that it's so many different colleges around
Yeah,
and businesses
Right.
just in that little area. There's like 6, 7 colleges.
yeah.
And then you got the business people. So it's a nice fit of just a good, diverse type of
And then the
crowd.
low ceiling, like it was just
Oh, it was- I
there was a
remember when they
pop
used to be
to
able
the
to smoke.
laughs that's just not like almost any other place.
I think I got there right when right before they banned smoking. So then you had to smoke in the room, and it was just
Man, I would have
like,
fucking.
you go in there, it's
so
like, this is
cool.
a comedy club.
yeah, it's like there's a haze over
Yeah,
the crowd.
it's like
got that-
moves slow as
yeah,
shit.
and there's just a level of like,
I miss
and then you
that.
go back as the headliner, and you're like, this room isn't the same
you know,
because they were there because it's cake to open for all these people that are
Yeah.
huge stars.
Oh,
you know
for
who
sure.
hooked it up was Todd Glass.
Yep, that
Oh,
curtain.
He stole the sheet
Yeah,
from the hotel, blocked out the outside, and then blocked those
the glass bricks.
the grass by the.
Yo, that was the first weekend I
bartender.
had ever been to Good Nights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Motherfucker put candles on every damn.
Yeah.
table.
He's an interesting cat. Like the
He's
way
so
he
fun.
just goes into a room and just this like we can't have this.
So he-
like the whole show from when people are coming in, it's like the things you like drive around in your car when you're driving it. Like if I could do the show, he
He
implements
does it.
Rusty Haynes.
Mm-hmm,
So he was opening for Todd Glass, and I loved Todd Glass. Was in a couple of documentaries about comedy, and one of them he changes this room. Another one was Modern Comedian, and he talks about ambience and candles and all the light and all this stuff. And it was like, oh, this is all stuff I'm super interested in, but I never heard anybody really talk about it like that. And so I see Rusty opening for him, and I tweeted or whatever it was, and I was just like, fucking give Todd Glass a kiss on the forehead and tell him I'm a big fan. And so I'm sitting on the porch, just drunk out of my mind in the hammock, and Todd calls and said, "What are you doing, man?" I was like, "I'm fucking home." He's like, "You coming?" I'm like, "I can't afford it." He's like, "I got gas, I got tickets, I got food. Come hang out." And
that's
that was the
cool.
first time I ever went to Good Nights. We hung out.
If that happened to you today, you'd be like, nah, I'm good. Thanks.
I would go if Todd Glass, like if a comedian I know or like messages me and asks me to go anywhere, I don't give a shit. I'll I'll
right,
sell all my
remember
stuff.
that. Remember
I
that.
said
Yeah.
liked, and so, but what I noticed immediately was he was in the booth playing his own. He was doing his own pre-show. He played his own music. He only did a 2-man
He
show.
introduced himself.
He introduces himself and he sets the audience up. So what I noticed was the lights were getting dimmer and the music was getting louder, and so I noticed that. And I asked him after the show. I was like, "Hey, so after everybody leaves and all that." We talk in between shows and we talk after. We talked till 4 a.m. at a diner.
you
He
gotta
bought me.
leave.
Yeah. Dude, it was
You gotta
fucking
leave
fantastic.
inside.
But what he explained to me was, so all of that is him preparing the audience to dive into the show and not think about anything else. So the lights would get dimmer and the music would go loud, and then boom, he'd cut both of them at the same time. And he created this atmosphere where everyone was chatty Cathy's loud. He's like, the louder it is before the show, the better the show is going to be. And so he whipped everybody up. He turned the music up so loud that they had to lean in and talk to each other. And then when he cuts the music and he cuts the lights, everybody shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo. And then he was on stage, and there was this couple that was just talking, man. And it was 15 minutes into his set. And I saw him lower the microphone but raise his voice and then come back on the mic. And I asked him about it. He says, I really didn't notice I did it, but what I was doing is I noticed that they weren't being mean. They were having a good time talking about the jokes. I just let them know that they were in the room. And it was just like this little fucking piece. So I learned so much just in that weekend from Todd Glass. He's so good. Yeah. When he came to the Idiot Box, I told Jenny, I was like, I guarantee, I remember betting her. I was like, 5.5 minutes before Todd's touching your lights and stuff. And she's like, no way. And he walked in and he was like,
Downstairs at the bottom of Good Nights, you know where the bar is? He's like, I thought I told him to change the music.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, you're on in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but I told her to keep the lights about right there. And then he changes the station.
Yep.
He's like, all right.
He had very specific music, man.
Mm-hmm.
He knew
he knew what he was doing. I mean, he created all that shit.
Yep, I love
Create the
stuff.
atmosphere that he wants to be in.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
It changed the way I did things when I was running the club downtown. It made every show I've ever been in the booth for better because of that one conversation with that dude. Yeah, that was cool.
That is cool. All right, dudes. I appreciate you guys coming here, man.
Thanks for
It's
having
good to
me,
see
man.
you. You know, we don't.
I'll be
really
back
have-
when Mike comes back.
Yeah.
Love this guy, man. Appreciate you having me, Tom. It's awesome
Thank
to
you,
see you.
dude.
Awesome to hang.
Yeah, man. It is. It is.
I need
You
to
going-
get out here more.
I didn't even answer your question about how I get ready, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how
I
did
get
you
into
get
a
ready?
panic. Really, I'm like you. I get into a little bit of a panic.
I have to. Do you have to have anxiety?
I don't know if I have to, but I notice.
Can't control it. You're going to.
Yeah, depending on where I'm doing comedy, I have a different. Like when I showed up to the show you were at, I didn't really know what I was doing, and then I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do, and then I sit and I'm trying to think of the jokes I wanted, and then I'll make a set, you know, and then I'll try to go up there, and then and even then I went up and started doing different stuff that I wasn't planning on doing, you know. So once I have that, I feel okay, and I have the set list in my pocket, and I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, I can pull this out.
Yeah.
You said a word
you know.
I'm unfamiliar with. You said jokes. What's that?
Yeah. I have jokes. I write.
Jokes
yeah.
on jokes
Yeah,
on
I have
jokes.
jokes upon jokes upon jokes. And or if like sometimes I'll notice I have anxiety and I'm starting to be like I can notice as I'm walking around a ship of like I'm in kind of a bad mood that day or whatever. Or I'm starting to get a little extra grumpy at people for standing in line, and then I start to realize, oh, I don't have my set together for tonight. So that
Making you
anxiety
irritable,
is starting
yeah.
to build. So
That's what I
I'll do
stopped
that,
doing.
and then I'll be like, and then once I have a set sort of written out, then that stuff goes away, and then I may not even do that set that way, but it's like I've programmed, like, okay, I got where I need to go. what
I'm
I
in a
need to do.
spot now where, so I came out of this never having, like, I worked really hard to get to a point where I didn't have to have a set list. I could just walk up and figure it out, and I'd get to the stuff I wanted to talk about, because I was going to talk about whatever I was thinking about.
Right.
But now I'm kind of in a hole, because I don't have the confidence of doing that directly behind me. Like,
Right.
when I
Yes,
was doing it every night, I trusted that. Now I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, now I gotta go back and teach myself how to do the
I
actual
think it's
work
part of
again.
what's part of the process for you is like to step away from it and then to create all that anxiety again and then
Yeah.
start back again. Like
I create it.
Yeah.
And if I don't have it, like if I'm not feeling anything, that's when I'm worried.
Yep.
Because I'm not putting any feeling in it. I gotta have
Same.
the nervousness. I gotta have. And
I
then
just
if
don't
it's
like that
too
that's
high,
the
that's where the
trade.
weed kind of calms me
Yeah.
out, even though it's still there. but I gotta have it because it puts me on my toes.
Like
I
last
hate-
night, I didn't have any idea what I was going to do or if I was even going to go up. Sometimes I'll go and sit there and I'll be like, I don't want to go up. I got nothing. You know what I mean? And then like last night, I had a little bit of that, and then I was like, as I sat there going through the phone, I'm like, all right, try that one, try that one, try that one, and then it's like I'll sort of start to build a set before I go up, you know, and then I can go up and
Having a
sort of
couple
comment
ideas
on
is a good
whatever,
thing.
and then it's like, even if I have to read it, I got it, you know. So last night, and last night ended up being fun. It's like some nights
Where was last night?
I went to Idiot
Oh,
Mic,
nice.
you know, and then
Oh,
I
hell
ended
yeah.
up doing like
Oh,
the
gotcha,
open mic
gotcha.
after, and
So you an open
just
mic
did
tonight?
like 10 minutes. And,
There is.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And-
You guys have fun.
yeah, well, I did all the, I mean, believe me,
If
I
you guys
thought I
each
had
write me
30
a joke,
minutes.
if you guys each write me a joke, I might come out. You guys write me a joke, but you guys got to do all the work. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because
Give me a Tom joke, dude. Give me a Tom joke tonight.
all right.
Write it down on a.
It's funny. Last night I did a joke that I don't even know why it popped in my head, but how it got me there. Someone said something in the audience, and
Yeah.
it was just like, "Bing, this is perfect." So I had a joke about Black Lives Matter signs.
Okay.
I was like, "Black Lives Matter signs are just the new ADT alarm signs."
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's just like, here you go.
Protect
We're
it.
good, right? We're good. And they're all angled at my house like a satellite dish. Like,
Best reception.
yeah. Let him see it, honey. Push it that way. That's where he lives.
He's not going to see it if you don't point it at him.
But I forgot why. I was like, oh damn, I forgot about Joe.
But isn't that fun when you when that shit hits you and you just, it's one of my favorite moments in life when you just kind of walk up to the vault and spin it, crack it open. It's just, I have an idea, no filter, it comes out the mouth and then it works. Oh boy, ain't nothing more tasty than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I got last night? That goofy joke I wrote in the parking lot about I'm a Southern guy and I'm recently single, so I'm killing it, right? I need a Blue Chew spit cup, right? It's like some version of like Blue Chew and chewing, you know?
Yeah.
And last night it got me out of a jam, like it popped into my head to save a thing, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing a thing about the Haktua girl, like you got
Yeah.
spit on that thing, you know what I'm talking
Yeah, we
about?
were talking about that right before you went.
Yeah,
in.
yeah. So I ended up figuring it out like who is spitting on, like that's so disrespectful. Like I'm not spitting on you, you know. And I go maybe it's I don't know why there's this run. But then I went to that. I was like maybe it's because of all the Blue Chew. People need a spit cup. I'm using your pussy. You know? It was like that kind of a. And so I ended
I
up
hate when you
finding
say the
it.
word pussy,
I know
dude.
it's
I
awful.
hate
It's
it.
awful. It's awful. I know.
You said it like a game show.
Ladies and gentlemen, pussy.
Yeah, come on down and get you
Number
some
one
pussy. Right? Which, by the way, I've decided. Like, people have been hitting me. Like, I'm in a weird thing with my wife where we're getting separate. So, but it's been a long time, right? And people, you know, it's like
You can't break up with her,
You haven't
yeah.
had sex in how long? Like, you know, and I'm like, I've reached an age where it's fucking overrated. It's not that great. Maybe it's just been so long that I don't
Yeah.
remember how great it is.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just like,
It's probably that one, but whatever one gets you through the night is cool.
it's not worth the
know what I'm
hassle.
saying?
It's not
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
the fucking trouble.
Yeah, I told myself that for a while.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
So like after I broke up with my girl, I was like, I got 3 girls I could hit up right now. I was like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna cut on this forensic files right
Yeah.
now, eat this gummy, and I'm okay. You know what? I still want sex and all that shit, but it's really not as high a priority as it used to be.
Same. And
You know what I'm saying? It's like now it's like, oh man, I could get some pussy, or me and my dog could go out running.
Yeah.
Let's go frolicking, bro.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Let's go frolicking, bro.
bro. Let's go frolicking, bro. Let's get it. There's a thing on Instagram where brothers were frolicking. No one told me about this. And
Yeah.
these brothers are just running through and
That's funny.
rolling in the grass. I was like, that's hilarious. Brothers don't frolic.
No, that's right.
Brothers don't frolic enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
man, we
don't
need more
even,
frolicking.
That's,
You don't-
that's a true statement.
you don't know about frolic until you have an example set for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You need to see other brothers out frolicking.
What the hell is he doing? That's frolicking. Shut the hell up. Oh my God, I'm frolicking. It's hilarious.
I haven't frolicked in quite a while.
It's
Go
been a
frolic in
while
the
for
parking
me.
lot.
I don't think I could frolic with you, Tom. I don't think we could frolic together. I don't think we could be frolic bros. You know what I mean? I don't think you're a frolic guy. I don't think for me because I'm
I
definitely
don't
not a
think,
frolic.
yeah, I can't see
I
you.
think with the right
I
partner,
can't see
he
you
could be.
frolicking.
I think
I
with the
could
right,
frolic with Tom.
Yeah, I think you got but
I could
see,
get Tom in the
I don't,
We
think I,
got
have a
two-
clear, I don't think I have a clear image of what frolicking
you're
means.
more a frolic guy.
Running through
Sure.
Skipping through the...
yes, but it's got to be through some grass
nicer than
with
what they
some
used to say in high
dandelions.
school.
You gotta drop to the ground and roll in some dandelions.
Okay.
Right.
After a while, after the
Okay.
yeah, hey, I'm frolicking. It's a skip.
There has to be
with
some
a
flowers.
roll in the grass.
Okay.
You're right, I'm not doing that.
See? See?
I'm out.
Like, man, I'm itching.
I'm out with the frolicking.
It
By the way,
requires being present too. Like, oh my God, I'm frolicking. You can do the motions, but it's like,
You don't have to
Can
do
you-
the rolling around part.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I'm gonna wrap this up, but I want to tell you, like, what I did today was I dug in my backyard. Like,
Okay.
I have a big
start.
an avocado tree that
Yeah.
I started to grow over the last couple of years, and I have to leave it inside in the winter. Anyway, I'm gonna build like a greenhouse. I was gonna
Yeah.
put it in the ground and figure out a way. So I dug this fucking huge hole for it, and then my wife's like, I want to make this into like a greenhouse. But I saw a thing where he dug down about 4 feet. So she's like, make this whole thing. So I'm digging a hole that's like 6 feet by 9 feet and about 5 feet deep.
She's
and I
behind you
realized
like
I might be digging my own coffin. You know what I mean? I might be digging it's about the size
grave,
of a
yeah.
grave.
She's just back there with a bat. Like,
She's-
you're
yeah.
almost
but
there.
I don't think that's a murder grave. Do you know what I mean? Because murder graves are mostly shallow. They're
Yeah,
mostly shallow
rush.
graves.
But
So if it's deep because
That's-
it's in a residential neighborhood and she's like really trying to get rid of the body, it's at least respectful.
yeah, you got to call ahead too to see there's not a power line.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So-
she's
true,
out
you
there
gotta-
like, wait a minute. He's like, dee, dee, dee.
Yeah.
But she's got me digging this huge hole that might be my grave, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So be aware. And because
If we don't hear from you,
Look,
Check
do
the
you ever
guide.
do this? I did this with my last girlfriend. Keep a piece of paper this big, fold it up in all of your fifth pockets, and say she did it.
she did it.
Right there, that fifth pocket. Because someone's gonna go through this shit. Like, let me
Eventually,
see
yeah.
this guy. Yeah, and they be like,
It's the she did it pocket. That's what I'm gonna start calling it.
she did it
Put it in
pocket.
your she did it pocket.
Yeah, because no one, they aren't gonna think about checking.
I'm just gonna write different shit on there now. I'm gonna like
He's gonna do like a message in the bottle.
depending on what kind of pants I got when I die, you know what I mean? It might say Mike did it, might say Tom did it. you know what I mean?
Okay, that's hey,
Yeah.
all right, brothers. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks.
That was
That's
fun.
fun. Mike.